it felt like the choker narrative was like, it was good enough to push. There was like enough meat on the bones that I could go in on that.
Spin that,
but then
around.
I could spin the fuck out of that. But then afterwards, I instantly, the first time I streamed post match, I just got zero in the chat. Are we chokers now? I was like, yeah.
Some good news for you in your power rankings, X's. Alcad are actually really good. Like they like
underrated them, if anything.
Yeah, I feel like if I was to give like MVP of stage 1, I would give it to Lib. They're like, I actually swear he was just like the best hit scan this season.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I don't know. The grand final was just like, it was pretty normal because like we had scripted you guys like all week playing the same stuff, like similar stuff. Like it didn't really. I think we were like more confident versus you guys than Liquid because we didn't really know what Liquid were gonna play. Like it was a bit of like a question mark, you know what I mean? Because we weren't able to scrim them the entire week.
People were buying into the theory at record rates, but then on the final day, the slingshot snapped and it all fell apart. So what's the correction to the theory here, Chris?
I mean, they say theory will only take you so far. I think the reality is what we needed to find a way to squeeze one more loss into regular season. So I was theory crafting it. What we needed to do was.
Welcome to episode 35 on Uncoachable. Here on Uncoachable this year, we've really prided ourselves on having the most successful Australian in the Overwatch scene on every single episode. And today's episode, it's going to be no different. We had to do a little bit more work to make it happen this time. And next episode, it might be a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Our guest today is cuFFa, obviously joining us, tank player for Nightmare. And if I understand correctly, cuFFa, you're a pretty big fan of the show, right? You and the ISU guys watch it, have a little watch party.
I'm a big Uncoachable head, I think I strive for this. Nah, like in like our first semester, I would get home like late at night, and Oliver and Scarl just sitting on the couch watching Uncoachable, getting in the spirit. I think Scarl's a big quiz head still.
Wow, rest in peace.
Wow, that's pretty bad news on that one.
We still sell quiz head shirts, but the quiz is long gone. Like it's a disaster.
It's vintage now. Only real ones will get out at this point.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the Patreon for that.
This guy's a professional. Might just replace you at this point, Hunter, and we can just keep the most successful Australian.
Hey, no, fuck it, I'm getting water.
I wanted to ask as well, did you watch last week's episode, the last episode we did, cuFFa?
Yeah, I saw that you guys called us chokers.
Well, not you guys, him.
The doctor right now who's just getting some a little bit more water, and there was certainly there was a doctor of spin getting involved in our last episode trying to push the choker narrative. Do you think, was there any truth in it? Because you kind of said it in your interview on broadcast, right, as well, and maybe some performance issues.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to it, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of those games that we were, like, even the fucking first game against Liquid in playoffs, like, doesn't really mean too much. Like, maybe it's cope to say that, but I feel like the games that we fumbled were like, I don't know, they didn't mean too much.
Yeah. This might also sound like cope on the other end, but I also feel like the grand finals is actually, it's like you can't choke that because no one gives a shit, Like we said it last week with Smash, but once I don't know how it feels obviously, but it must be so nice to play that grand final for both of you guys, because even like Max lost it, it's going to suck a little bit, but it's so easy to just come away from it and be like, fuck it, at least we're not Team Liquid or Chris,
Yeah. No, I think like when we won against Liquid, like Max was messaging me, he's like, yeah, like, all right, let's have a good laugh, like we were both just like happy that we qualified.
Yeah, no, you had to see us when we were watching you with like just everyone like screaming, cheering, like it was just the best. Lenny's like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe it. This is the best day of my life, top of the world. Like Lenny's actually crying at the fact that Kasaris Danny didn't make it. Like so perfect. But I mean, I think that like maybe I amped up I was a little bit aggressive with the spin doctor narrative, weaving a web of lies about Nightmare being chokers. I think that there was like a bit of a history throughout the year. Like I remember we played our first match versus them we being used pretty liberally here because I don't play the game, I just spec and talk shit. But when we had our first match versus Nightmare, it was like everyone was saying at the time, like they are the best team, you know, like they are going to dominate you in the hazard mirror. They are 6-0ing Liquid every single day. And it's like we scrimmed them and it was just like, I mean, it was a pretty like strong 3-1, you know. Like I remember we lost to Colossia because we mirrored Iron Mike Tyson on Ram. But like other than that, it was like a pretty solid 3-1. And then like they lost to Liquid later on, where again like the scrim box were really high. So it was like it felt like the choker narrative was like, you know, it was good enough to push. You know, there was like enough meat on the bones that I could go in on that.
Spin that shit around.
I could spin the fuck out of that. But then afterwards, I instantly, the first time I streamed post match, I just got 0 in the chat. We chokers now. We chokers now. It's like,
You already know he was waiting to send that message.
yes, dude, I know he's hungry for that shit, dude. I already know.
Well, the best lies have a grain of truth in them, right? So
you can't spin a web without something to wrap up, you know. Like I had to wrap up cuFFa's little post match interview where it was like, if we just play like it's a scrim, it's gonna be fine. And then we got a scrim grand final, you know, like there was scrim equivalence at the end of it all.
Yeah, I think I don't know. The grand final was just like. It was pretty normal because like we had scripted you guys like all week playing the same stuff, like similar stuff. Like it didn't really. I think we were like more confident versus you guys than Liquid because we didn't really know what Liquid were gonna play. Like it was a bit of like a question mark, you know what I mean? Because we weren't able to scrim them the entire week.
Yeah, that was us for grand finals too, to be honest. Where it was like we thought if we played Liquid again, we were gonna lose for sure. Like it was really really close when we played Liquid, and like they lost the draft. So,
yeah, I mean they lost the draft both times.
Yeah, they're just shocking. They're just shocking at that. Danny's just so good at getting draft capped. But yeah, like I mean, when we played the grand final though, like we were surprised just that like you just kept winning the Luciana Winston mirror, you know? Like
yeah,
it can happen.
I don't know, like I think we would like historically lose to you guys a lot in that like mirror. Like we would try.
It felt like we would always. It felt like we would like always win on like Winston on Lucio, and you guys would always win on like Winston on Brig.
And
like when it was like a more slow comp and like Dennis was on Ash, then you would win. And when it was like a more fast comp and Dennis wasn't on Ash, then we would win. But this time Dennis was on Ash in the fast comp and you won.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks to suck.
Yeah, I was surprised to see more Brig in those games.
I just didn't want to do it out of respect, you know?
I think
it was only 6 maps. Like there wasn't really room to try it.
There was no way to work it in.
couldn't squeeze a Brig in there anyway.
No, it just wasn't in the cards for us.
No, I think if you guys went Brig, I just would have fucked your face. No, like Ram into Brig is just so good.
Oh, I mean, like, you only beat us on Ram on, like, maps where we wouldn't have played Brig anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's more like, you know, maybe when we're getting, like, absolutely face-fucked on, like, Suravasa or Esperanza, maybe, like, you know, just throwing a cheeky Brig there for a laugh, you know? It's like something's not working. We're just in a Winston mirror. Like, let's give it a crack. But, like, to be honest, like, I don't think that a Brig is, like, the reason that we lost, you know? Like, it's like a Lucian mirror. Like, I watched back that Esperanza on stream, and it's like, we've just got, like, all the cards in our favor, and then we just go for, like, the worst nano barrage of all time into the drop the spaghetti, into the get traded 5v1. And then Zero's pulse bomb CJ 3 times in a row, and CJ's head explodes into a million pieces, and the series is over. You know, like it's just a bit of a game is done situation. But you know, maybe a Blissey Brig would have like you know patched it up for a fight or two.
Opened up the third chakra.
We should talk about some of the other teams because you had to take down everyone on the path through the lower bracket. The first team that fell was obviously Timeless. Any worries for this one, or was that one? Did you feel pretty confident that one was in the bag the whole time? Because it feels like Timeless maybe fell off towards the end of stage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think they were like they're pretty similar to Liquid in terms of like their comps. So we thought like maybe they'd be a little bit scary, but we just knew that like if we could play our comps as much as possible, like there'd be sometimes where they'd ban stuff where we wouldn't be able to play good stuff. But we were like always confident to beat Timeless. Like I don't think that team was ever really like a big concern. Like we just knew we had to beat Liquid or SSG to qualify, and that was like the main focus. Like I don't think we really prepped Timeless too much. I think we just knew that was going to be like a
easy dub,
just something in the way.
So a small hurdle to leap over.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest news from that result was that probably actually Cap retired afterwards.
Is he officially retired, or did he like half retire?
I think it's pretty official, dude. Like, I got a private coaching client. Yeah. So someone booked private coaching because they wanted to do it with Cap and they couldn't. They found his YouTube video and they tried to book with him and he's like, I'm retired, sorry. So yeah, no, I think he's pretty done right now.
Yeah, I saw him like complaining about
good run.
the admins or
Cheers
something.
for the $56, mate. Like, appreciate that.
Oh yeah, there was some crazy stuff with that as well. Because we the day before we were supposed to play Timeless, Luke like DM'd us saying like, oh, Tense is probably gonna have to play or some shit. Because Luke doesn't have a passport. So he wouldn't have even been able to go to China if he qualified. Like he maybe could have got like a new one expedited quickly, but like I think they weren't gonna let him play because he didn't have an active passport. So like they like that must have been where like Cap was like raging to the Overwatch CS admins and like I mean they must have got to a solution because they allowed Luke to play that match. But yeah, I don't know. It was like some weird stuff with that.
I think the ultimate conclusion was essentially that like he could get a passport in time, so like he could play, but they kicked up like a stink about it at the very last minute, essentially. Like the Blizzard admins randomly brought it up, was my understanding. So I don't know though, like it's such a classic Luke Minnow thing that it's like the guy's whole life and his whole life, his whole identity, his whole existence has been pro gaming for so many years. And like a crucial component of the pro gaming circuit is traveling internationally when you win. But the thing about Luke Minnow is that he's just the master of not doing that when he competes. So there's never any opportunity to travel, just doesn't have a passport. How long has he not had a passport?
It's not come up until just now.
All of these years, and it's never once been relevant for him to think, should I get a passport? Like, there's
No,
no
I
way.
think he had one, but he actually got kind of fucked over, like from what I heard. Like he had one when he was on Shock, and then like it got lost in like mail when he was sending it back, and then when he went to like apply for a missing passport thing, he had to like send like his birth certificate, and like the postal service like lost it. Like that was definitely like
They lost his birth
Luke Mino no longer exists. Like, there is no such thing as Luke Mino.
No, I reckon this is some bullshit because I'm like at least 60% sure that Luke Minnow is an alien. If you've ever seen that guy in a drive-thru, walking barefoot in a drive-thru, holding his hand up to the speaker, you will be convinced that that guy is an alien. So some bullshit about, oh, the postal service lost my birth certificate. He doesn't have a birth certificate. He wasn't born on planet Earth. There's no way. I'm just going deeper into this. This is bullshit right now for sure. Postal service lost my birth certificate. Just doesn't exist. It never did.
I don't want to slander Luke. He's a nice guy.
Am I wrong about the not human thing though? Like
No comment.
Any thoughts on illegal aliens in general, or do we save that for like the next hour of the podcast?
Let's skip on that.
Okay.
We'll put a pin in that one. We'll pour one out for Cap out of respect. One final T. I mean, Timeless might be back, but it doesn't feel the same without Cap.
It's not the same without Cap telling him to stand 5 people on point. You reckon so?
Yeah. Just stand on the point all together, back of the map. If you're shooting your gun at the enemy before they're touching point, you're doing it wrong, guys. Like,
wasting ammo.
Gotta preserve those bullets. We'll need those.
Save them for a rainy day, boys.
Then next on the hit list was obviously Team Liquid, and this is probably the biggest disappointment. I think going into the start of the stage, nobody expected Team Liquid to find themselves in this position. Probably most people expected Team Liquid to lock it, SSG Nightmare dogfight for the final spot, but Team Liquid lose to SSG, lose to Nightmare, 3-2s both times. Where did it all go wrong? Where do we start with this in terms of what went wrong for a team that looked so good on paper?
Yeah, you go. You're the guest mate. No, you're the guest mate.
I think like maybe they just tried to put like too many eggs in their basket. I don't know, or like maybe the other way around. Like they played so much ball for like so much of the season that they weren't able to like, you know, really show high level on like other comps until the Morgan meta. But like at the same time, they were always playing different stuff in scrims, like in the lead up like of the whole season. I mean, I think the way they lost in like to us in the final was just draft gap. Like map 5, they're just banning Anna. They just can't play their ball comp.
Just ban their own comp out.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I felt. To be fair, for me, the second we got eliminated, I stopped watching any Overwatch. So I think I only really watched the TL versus like SSG game. But I swear, the more I watched TL, the more I don't know. I didn't like. I couldn't see like a path forward. It felt like they were like the only comp where they felt like they had any real confidence was this ball one, and it just looked so I don't know, whatever. Just like they just looked average throughout. You know, like there was never really moments where like TL ever stood above the rest of the teams in NA, which may be what we expected. I feel like in general, the teams that tried to be flexible, like my team as well, I think it's come back to bite. Like, as opposed to the teams like Max's, which did the opposite of flexibility effectively, but really honed in on one. Those teams seemed to get away with it. Like they did better. I really thought in map 5 against you, Max, I was like convinced that like when you banned Zen, I thought, oh, you're absolutely fucked here. Because I felt that TL had figured out your comp, you know, like the Mauga Lucio Kiri is the perfect answer to Winston fucking Ana Lucio, you know.
Because you thought they were going to win with Malgo, Lucio Kiri on Dorado?
I really thought so, because I actually think it's really not that bad. Like, to be fair, also like nothing else was working, right? So like to me, I felt like for you, I would have like tried to, because they like, what was the map before, Esperanza maybe? Like,
yeah,
it looks really, really tough for your comp, you know? Like, I think...
Oh, it's so different between Dorado and Esperanza, though. Like, on Esperanza, like, they can play really safe, and, like, you don't have a good nade angle when half of their team is playing safe. On Dorado, like, the same thing just isn't the case. Like, Dorado's just so broken with the high ground. I get what you're saying about it. Like, if maybe some of these, like, insane Maga teams can, like, you know, make it work. But, like, Liquid was never, like, that insane at it. And, like, Esperanza's significantly harder than Dorado to make it work.
Like, I know,
because
obviously...
the nade angles are more awkward and risky.
Like... Yeah, from our scrims versus you, or maybe our like playing both sides of the matchups, like it feels really easy to full cap in that comp. I think depending on if you guys were willing to swap or not. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like at the end of the day, I don't know. It feels like the ball comp has a purpose, but I don't know. I just felt there was nothing that I looked at Team Liquid and I thought teams would like you guys when you were drafting against them. There was like nothing that you were like too afraid of at all times. You know, it felt like you guys just needed to protect your comps and then you would win, as opposed to them just like effectively trying to play around you.
Yeah, that was like a lot of our general theory, maybe to a fault, like especially in the Nightmare, like in the Nightmare Grand Final, was like, you know, more interested in like protecting our comp than like fucking up their comp super heavily, to be honest. There were a couple of like second ban, like, I don't know, like chess situations, you know, where it's like, you know, you see them use a particular first ban and like you want to use a second ban in response, like you just want to block their comp because they've made one of our plans really difficult. So you need to be like aware of that. But anytime we had first ban, like the consistent first ban theory was always like just protect, because we only really had like 2 solid like practice plans for every scenario. And like if they would fuck up one of our plans, or we would ban out one of our own plans with the first ban, then we would have a problem. Like you see, we banned out one of our plans on route versus Nightmare, like on map 2. We banned out Ana as a second ban because we thought we can play Margaret comp here 100%, and banning out Ana fucks up one of their plans too. But then it just didn't work out because like even without an Ana, they just played Ram and it was just too much of a problem for us. Like we just didn't beat Ram with Malga, which is like, I don't know, the theory there was that, you know, we should be fine to beat Ram with Malga, but it just didn't play that way. So after that had happened, the theory shifted to very much just like perma protect. I think with regards to Liquid just being like not all that and not making the LAN, I think that the problem that everyone had like roster construction wise is everyone saw that like someone was this freak of tank, you know, but people really forget that like, you know, in the Overwatch League era, you had heaps of tanks that had like, you know, reasonable degrees of flexibility. But the truth is like nobody was flexible like someone. Nobody had these super high level performances on so many different heroes while being flexible. You know, there's lots of tank players that are flexible in Overwatch and in Overwatch 2, but nobody does it like someone. Nobody plays to that level. Nobody is like dominating, looking like a top 5 in the world player on multiple tanks all at once. And then Liquid, I mean, they had someone like someone who can literally like do all of that top 5 world on a bunch of different heroes. So someone can play musical heroes on a bunch of different stuff. And then they had Merit, who's just head and shoulders above every other hit scan in North America, you know? So they had someone who is exceptionally flexible, but literally like the best tank player in the world. And then they had a hit scan that was like a top 3 hit scan in the world for the year. So like someone that is limited, but exceptionally good at what they do, and someone that is not limited at all, and also exceptionally good at what they do. And then people looked at roster construction for this year and thought, we really want to recreate that. Like Casaurus and Danny, they saw Infected, and they saw Vega, and they saw all these players, and they thought like, you know, we want to, and they saw Tree as well, all these players that have a broad degree of flexibility. But are there any heroes that these guys are like number 1 on? yes is the answer, right? Like they are the best at some stuff, but maybe like just leaned a little bit too hard into this let's be flexible for everything thing, and then suddenly it's like, you know, Lenny's a better tracer than Knife, and Zera's a better Genji than Knife and stuff like that. It's like there's lots of coverage, but the people that are the best at stuff are not on their team a lot of the time.
Was there ever a point in scrims, anything through stage 1, where Team Liquid did feel like they were the top dog or consistently beating both of you guys?
They've always been good. They're just never like 6-0 dominating everyone. That's all.
I think Liquid probably beat us in like 2 scrims the entire season, and those 2 times were like they genuinely 6-0'd us. Like they face fucked us like 2 blocks, and then outside of that, it's usually like we would win like 1 or 2 maps more than them, or like sometimes we would just shit on them like 6-0. But, like there was like a time where like they just 6-0'd us, and then we played them like it was like I can't remember if it was before we 3-0'd them or if it was in between us 3-0ing them and then player. I think it was before we 3-0'd them. But the last time we scrimmed them before that match, they like genuinely fucking face fucked us like 6-0. It's like we were heading into that match like kind of scared in a sense. But I mean, and then we just like destroyed them. So I don't know. Like I feel like what Max was saying earlier about like the comps and like the bans. Like I feel like how you guys only had like 2 real comps that you could shine at. Same with them. I think that kind of like fucked you guys a bit, both of you, because like I feel like Nightmare, like us, we could play the most comps to the highest level out of the 3 teams, and that means that like our bans were never really bad for us. Like we could ban shit that would be bad for us, but it would be worse for you guys or worse for Liquid, and we could just play another comp that we're still good at.
Yeah, I think like you guys had what, like Hazard, Ram, Winston. I don't know. I guess you had Malga too, but it felt like you never really played Malga. Like when you guys being on Malga never really felt like something that was going to happen.
We never practiced it really.
Yeah, it's like you played it for like 1 cough point on map 1 and got shit on. So it was like you guys had like Hazard, Ram, and Winston, and then we had like Winston and Malga, and Liquid had Ball and Malga, and that was pretty much it. You know, like Liquid leaned into like, you know, more support line flexibility, stuff like that. And like they could do creative stuff with the ball, but it was like you guys had 3 and the other 2 teams
also
had
like
2.
the SIG comps as well. But I mean, that's
True. Yeah, I mean, we played. You know, we do a bit of that shit too, right?
Yeah.
Like I think Infected, that everyone does it. Like
Everyone
a
does
bit.
it,
You know,
yeah.
you load into a Havana, and then your main tank player loses to someone else picking a different hero on Havana. It's just like the handshake. You know, your main support on Zen or Kiri, and your main tank on off tank, and then you just like lose and wind up playing Winston by 3rd point, like out of respect.
Yeah, Oliver was deadly on Zen though.
You know, Oliver
hard
gapping Vega, like Oliver actually dominating Vega on the side. Like he's picked Knife 3 times on Tracer, and Vega's just stuck in the corner doing nothing. It's like unbelievable. It's so fucking good.
Is his sense still like 9 million?
Yeah, his sense is still
Honestly, like,
fucked high.
That's insane, actually.
Was it last, like maybe the last stage last year or something, and he was playing Alari, or maybe it was going up a Esports World Cup or something.
EWC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember watching his Alari. I was like, he's actually getting a lot done here. And in my head, all I have is like the Lucio guy, the rollout king. Always good for it on that hero, but his sense just makes everything else completely impractical.
Yeah.
But he was just good for it. Good for it on Alari, good for it on Zen. Maybe he had it all along. It was me and Chrissy holding him back, keeping him on Lucio. We should have had him on Zen all this time.
True.
So what do you think happens now? Because obviously Team Liquid hit this big disappointment. I think what happens now, right? Because they've got a long gap now between stage 2. Do they try and change things, or is it just is it more an approach problem than it is a personnel problem?
I mean, I've heard things that they might try and coach people, but nothing's like really confirmed yet for anything. But I don't know, like they were still insanely close to qualifying. Like I don't think it's like really as
Like
bad.
2-3-2s.
Yeah, like they lost 2 map 5s. Like I think if they got like 3-0'd and like just fucked out of the tournament early, like then it's like, okay, we actually need like hella roster changes or something needs to go. Something needs to happen. But like they were still really close to qualifying. I think like honestly, I think the players are still really good and like all that. I think it was just draft, like bans. And like
we gotta kill
maybe
Danny. Like
We gotta kill Danny.
Hashtag kill Danny, yeah.
It was a personnel problem, not the personnel you're thinking of, though.
maybe they focused too much on ball. Like I think maybe they thought it would be stronger with perks, but I think ball comp got like significantly weaker when perks came out. Like you have the Ana like sleepy fucking perk.
Groggy.
Yeah, that just like completely fucks ball. Like I think that was just like the most insane addition.
You saw it
Yeah,
in
I
every
don't know.
region, really. Like everyone pulled away from ball kind of in that same moment.
Yeah.
Like, or kind of except for Team Liquid, really. Is there anything else we need to cover from North America? We've hit Nightmare slaying everyone. Any additional cope to add for the grand final loss, Max?
No Ash ban.
Yeah, I mean, I was just protecting Ana. I don't know. I keep
What-
getting spam pinged in my Discord.
What's like the Ana protect?
We want to
why-
play Winston into Ram, and we can't play Winston without Ana, and we want to sleep the Ram. So
Did you guys think we were gonna like ban Ana?
Thought that like if the Ana ban was available, then you would play like Juno Brig or something with Juno and no Ana, and just play Ram again. You know,
Yeah.
like what happened on Root? Because like on map 2, we banned Ana out ourselves, and then we tried to play Mauga. Like we're not going to play Winston without Ana, and we tried to play Mauga without the Ana, and we just lost to the Ram anyway. So we thought, shit, like our best and perhaps only working solution for today is going to be playing Ana into the Ram. And you know what? If Chris doesn't hit the sleep on you, like we'll just go next map. You know, like we'll just pass up on Lijiang.
I think there's like propaganda being spread about Ram being like unwinnable versus Morga. Like I feel like we didn't really play Ram for like a certain period because like Morga started showing more up, so we wanted to get like more hazard practice. But like even before then, like we never really struggled with playing Ram into Morga, and like I was pretty confident. Like on Route on that map, like we were getting face fucked on hazard, right? That you guys had like 4.5 minutes. And Zero's like, we can just Morgan mirror these guys. So like, I'm like in spawn, like I'm bad to press.
I wish you had done that. I wish you had just listened to Zero, dude.
Right.
Like, if you had listened to Zero and we'd gone up 2-0, I think we would have just won the series. To be honest.
I was literally like, fuck it, I'm gonna try Ram, and then we just like face fuck you guys full hold, and then I'm running into their spawn. I'm just like, okay, yeah. I think that was like an insane turning point because it was like feeling kind of rough.
The momentum was like fully fucked in our favor, right? Like we'd taken map 1 and we're dominating you on Route. Like we're like 4.5 minutes on third point. Like you're just getting shit on in the trade. And
we were really confident
straight away
as well.
Iron Mike just comes out and it's like, no.
I think it's like another thing.
You know, you can press tab in spec and you can't see what the hero swap is, but I can because like it's bugged, right? So like coach POV, when you're spectating, you don't get even when you're team locked, you don't see the question mark. So like they're saying like, oh, he swapped tank, and I'm pressing tab and I can see it. And I'm like, no.
Anything but that.
I think you guys did that to yourselves as well, though, because like every time we would scrim each other, whenever I'd go Ram, you guys would always type about it and like complain. So like I just had like insane confidence on Ram heading into it, and as soon as that happens and we win a few fights, I'm like, okay, we just won.
It was earned confidence. We could not stop this motherfucker. Like,
yeah, I think we low-key had like upwards of like 90% win rate on Ram comps, like every time we played it anywhere.
Iron Mike, dude. Iron Mike.
Just a broken hero. The perks are so fucking good.
Do you do the exploding E?
Yeah, of course.
And do you take the extra shield against Mauga?
Nah, I was doing the like the shooting one.
The better left click or whatever.
Yeah, the shotgun one. I feel like I don't know what they changed like 6 months ago, but like Mauga just became like a total kappa counter to Ram. Like it was like it was like fucking one of the fucking millions of armor changes that they do, like they roll out. But like Mauga just used to absolutely shred Ram. Like you couldn't, like even if you had ult, you died instantly. But now Mauga like doesn't, like, I swear, just doesn't do damage to Ram anymore. So it's like a 55-45 matchup at best, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think you
it
just
used
need to
to
play
be like
well.
100-0. Like it was completely unplayable before, but I don't know, whatever the fuck they changed the chain.
You just need to like, save shield for Mauga shout. Like as soon as he shouts, if you have shield, you just like block his whole thing. Like that, he needs that to survive. He needs to shoot tank.
I think Ram's also insane versus Juno Brig. So like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the matchup is pretty playable. Clearly.
Yeah, especially with perks. Like they're on Juno Brig, they're like running in with like shit, and I just like throw a fucking E in the air, and then their Brig Juno are just like on the floor, and I'm just punching their mouth in. Like...
Oren asks, which is better in your opinion, Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones for me. I didn't finish Breaking Bad. I
Ooh,
season
that is
4
a
or
hot
something.
take, actually.
I kind of lost interest, never went back to it. But Game of Thrones watched all the way through.
I never know how to rate Game of Thrones because I think the highs of Game of Thrones I think are better than any TV show ever. But then I also think it lets itself down towards the end so severely that I kind of like think like a show like, in my opinion, like Breaking Bad, I think stays pretty consistent throughout. I don't remember like there being a really shit season. I think The Wire is like really fucking excellent throughout. But even like The Wire is probably my favorite TV series of all time. But I still think Game of Thrones, like season 4, is better than anything The Wire put out. You know, like that shit's just like unmatched. So I don't know. Maybe I'm still like Game of Thrones build.
I think the fact that Game of Thrones is so dog shit for the final 2 seasons, especially the final season, just like ruins it, you know? Like,
yeah.
I think if you're looking at like one individual season, then like, yeah, Game of Thrones is probably better. Like, Game of Thrones had like a higher peak for one season, but like Breaking Bad was like insane for like 6 full seasons, and it ended really well, you know? Like a show ending badly like ruins a show, you know? Like it really ruins a show. So I think, you know, if we got to look at the body of their work, we can't just tunnel on like one little moment, you know what I mean? Like so,
Consistency over
to be fair,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Game of Thrones, it was like, I would say at least 4 seasons of like, seasons 1 through 4 of Game of Thrones is better than anything Breaking Bad put out. And then maybe from season 5 onwards, Breaking Bad is better, but I understand your point.
So
you need to do a TV series podcast. It would be fucking insane. TV and politics, just a classic too. All we need.
One thing we need to talk about as well, actually, before we forget, is one person whose reputation is going through the roof right now is GgulTaek. As Nightmare have had a lot of success, and obviously Way have had a lot of success. Obviously, not quite as much respected as Nightmare, but GgulTaek has been behind all of it. I don't want to completely disregard Weeks' existence here, but I feel like GgulTaek, he's the hot new guy on the street. So, what's he like, cuFFa, to work with?
Yeah, he's really good. I think he just like gauges the game a lot differently to like Western players, and it's just like suits like our play style. Like the way he wants me to play the game is like how I like. I mean, it just like works for me. Like I think that's like another thing why we were so bad at the Morga comp, because it kind of goes against like the philosophy of like how we would play the game and like how he wants me to play. So we never
not
really
pushing
wanted
for 2 seconds.
Hey,
like not pushing for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Morga's just like a shoot tank hero. Like I don't shoot tank.
Well,
like if you watch,
like if you're like in an FPL game and someone says we need to shoot their tank, you'll start crashing out on them.
yes.
We were talking about that like before the match. It's like cuFFa's like so obsessed with pushing backline. It's like there's absolutely no way that this guy's ever going to tell you to shoot the tank.
Bro, I crash out like when I queue ranked or like FPL. I'm just getting shot at by the enemy tank, and I'm just like flaming them the entire time. I'm like, why is this fucking geek shooting me? Like, fuck off, bro. Like I'll just go kill your backline.
Shameless, like when we went Orisa on Control Center, it's like, what's an Orisa gonna do? I don't know, shoot you. What else was their job? I don't know, just keep shooting him.
Bro, did you watch like my POV on Lijiang against Orisa? Like Orisa's sitting on point, and I'm just like I'm just giving your backline a concussion, then backing out, then giving them a concussion.
So shocking.
The fun hero.
Should we talk about EMEA then as well? Because we've got some theories to revisit, because it felt like the theory was going pretty well for a strong part of the weekend. The stocks were going up, everyone was investing, people were buying into the theory at record rates. But then on the final day, the slingshot snapped and it all fell apart. So what's the correction to the theory here, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, they say theory will only take you so far. I think the reality is, what we needed to find a way to squeeze one more loss into regular season. So I was theory crafting it. What we needed to do was we needed to lose 3-2 to Sakura and then qualify in as on tiebreaker points, so we could just pull it back just slightly further. Like there was some more. There was a little bit. Like we just need a little bit more. And I think 2 and 5 it wasn't enough for a slingshot. We needed 1 and 6 regular season, and then we could fully extend it, and then we would be okay. You got to rely on the tiebreakers. But I mean, what can you? I mean, no one's ever tested this theory out. I was talking to the players, and I thought, should we just try winning in regular season next year? Like, should we just like fuck slingshot theory and just actually just be good? So we might fuck about and try some of that. We'll see what happens. We'll get back to the lab.
Okay, so all of the cope is just that you didn't slingshot hard enough, and next time around you're going to give up on trying to slingshot it because you feel like it's an
Maybe
unreliable theory.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I think
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean it was super disappointing because I think especially after the TM series, I actually felt I knew we were going to lose on Sunday because I wasn't nervous for the game because I thought I just felt I watched that game back against TM because you go through the replay codes and you watch every single fight of every official, right? And I was like, oh my god, we actually played so fucking good, you know? Like we actually we won against TM from dry fighting. And I was like, okay, like we've actually fucking completed it, you know? Because how the fuck have we got this team dry fighting, like fucking like winning the economy? And then every planet it was all fine. And then against Alcad, it's just like the series itself, like each map was relatively close, but there's just like 2 or 3 ult blunders, you know? And it's just like every single time you just look at it, you just have that one fight back. The same like discipline that like effectively put us through against TM isn't there against Alcad. But the reality is like there's like I do have some cope because, you know, I wouldn't come to this podcast without cope. Like that would be disrespectful to the audience. But I think there was like, before we do like the 10% of cope, I think there was like 90% of like reality, which is, you know, we effectively won like 4 games this season and lost 6. If you get put in the losers bracket because you're so dog shit in regular season, then if you have an off day, then you don't win, you know? Like, I'm not saying that we're better than Alcad, but I think we can win that series genuinely. I think they are good, like they deserve to go, but it's like we didn't play that as well on that day as we did the day before, and that's all it takes if you give yourself one live. I think the bigger, maybe the harder pill to swallow is like, I don't know, we just like, when I was on this podcast however many weeks ago when we built the roster, like this idea was, oh, it's going to be like the super flexible roster. We're going to win the draft. We're going to like target other teams' weaknesses. And it just at no point did we pull it off, you know? Like in the end, we almost slingshotted, but it wasn't through flexibility. It was high rolling like a decent meta for us and just like being the best or hoping to be one of the best at the meta. And I think somewhere that's maybe what's disappointing. I think there's like an argument, to be honest, that even if we beat Alcad and we qualified and finished second, I think there would still be an element of like failure about the project, about what we tried to do, like how we tried to do it. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty fucking rough one. I think those 2 or 3 days after you do fail is really rough, especially when, you know, like you said in your Discord, but you just get like, yeah, people like fucking like at your DMing your fucking tweeting at you like directly like 30 seconds after your loss. I think not to be the empathy police, because, you know, I'm known to be Mr. Empathetic, but I think it's one of the best feelings, or maybe the worst feelings about esports in general, is I think in real life in general, I think you get this like hard work to rewards payoff. Like the universe is relatively balanced in that aspect. Like, it's not always true, but if you really put in the time at school, you normally get the qualification, you know? Like, it's very rare that someone, like, it happens, but it's rare that someone grinds. Like, if you prepare for your business meeting, if you prepare, it'll go fine, you know? Whereas one thing that happens in esports is you get, like, 6 teams in EU that are all fucking trying so hard, but only 2 of them are going to feel happy, you know? And I think that, maybe, like, injustice isn't the right word, but that feeling, like, I get it every season, depending on where I remember the first time I had it in season 2 in Philly Fusion. I'm just sat there, I'm like, I fucking put every single second of the day into fixing this shit for 3 weeks, and I'm the first one out, and it's all for nothing, you know? And it's it's a really, really tough pill to swallow that I think maybe it's fine, like the fans are gonna be the fans, but I think that people maybe don't quite understand that sometimes. Which is why the wins also feel sweeter, because there is like, it, you know, you gamble with your emotional happiness in this sport. So yeah, it was tough, but I mean, what can you do? You know, it is what it is.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think like starting in the loser bracket is so tough. It's like, I mean, we lost our first game in the winners, but like we still had like a week to fix things, and like it gave us like goals to improve on, and like we learn like, oh, we don't want to do these or mistakes or whatever. Like you have room to like fix shit. Whereas if you're just starting in the losers, like you make one bad day and you're just out of the whole tournament. Like it's rough.
The nature of the schedule is quite brutal depending how you go through it, right? Because even like Liquid did the sort of like had to play that upper bracket final straight into losers to try and get back again, so it's like back-to-back really tough games. Whereas if you get like, I mean, I guess part of it maybe is just a reward for staying in the upper bracket, is you can actually just get a really nice pace of games.
I mean, at least it's not back-to-back, like the grand finalist day, like that's harder, right? Like Nightmare had to play Liquid and then literally like 30 minutes later play us. At least the grand final is like, in a big way lower stakes because of like how the qualification is already done and dusted. But like, Liquid, they lose in upper bracket. Oh, I mean, they win in upper bracket. They get a day between the matches, right? Like
I just mean their second week they had to play like Saturday, Sunday, right? Like back to like.
Yeah, but
I guess that's kind of
qual lose. We had to play Saturday, Sunday too, right? Like everyone had to play Saturday, Sunday. You just get elimed. Is that not right?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's like a unique situation because the grand final was less stakes, right? So like your Sunday wasn't a big worry day, right? But that's probably also unique to the.
And I've been lying this whole time. We were pissing our pants about the Nightmare Grand Final. Like genuinely, it was the most soul-crushing defeat of my entire career. But yeah. I don't know. I think that like the starting in the lower bracket thing, it's like it's good for like keeping the schedule the way that it is. Though I think that like the schedule is pretty well loaded in terms of like the importance of the games and whatnot. So having like the lowest seeded team start in the lower bracket is good.
To be honest, like originally when I assumed the playoff bracket would be traditional, where it would be like the top two teams get a bye. But honestly, we went 2 and 5. Like I even said that to the guys after the race. We're so lucky this format is shit because like realistically, if you go 2 and 5, you should be fucking like you should be beyond like you shouldn't even have a chance,
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it would be nice to start in the not losers bracket, but I don't think we really deserve that if we're all keeping it $1.50 here,
In the interest of keeping it $1.50, it does feel like the 2 and 5 team doesn't really deserve to be like dominating through the bracket and given a million chances. I don't know why they didn't do the top 2 teams getting a bye thing because I feel like that's like
because they just do like the top 2 teams go into upper semis.
And that's why I thought
they would play upper quarters.
Who did we play first round in playoffs? I can't even remember.
You played Timeless first round.
Yeah,
did we?
You picked them. You got to choose who you picked.
We played Liquid, you played Timeless. The others were in loser bracket.
Yeah. So what would have happened instead if we skipped first round? Then would we have just gone straight to the match versus?
No, it probably would have been the same because Timeless would have beaten Avidity or whatever the fucking NA teams are called, and you would have played the winner of that. But it just meant that like Avidity would have been knocked to lows, and they would have a second chance, or whoever the teams are.
Yeah, I mean that would have been fine too, to be honest, like to play less games. But I guess there's nothing wrong with beating Timeless 2 times in a row.
Cheers to that.
Wait, was that first game? Is that when we played ball on Esper?
Yeah. No, that was the week before, right? I think
we only
played
Timeless
that was
once.
The last time of
that was a
regular
regular season game.
Yeah.
And then playoffs, we just like hard destroyed them. I think.
Stop playing ball.
I mean, we just didn't play ball on Esperanza. Yeah. It's actually an insane solution.
A revolutionary decision coming out.
Yeah.
I think though, actually, EMEA probably actually felt like a really satisfying tournament in terms of like the Alcan and Virtus Pro games felt like really high quality versions of both. And I think like even though obviously Chrissy would have preferred a different outcome, it felt like the 2 teams that went were the most deserving teams for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to I guess maybe some good news for you in your power rankings, X, is Alcad are actually really good. Like they like
underrated them if anything.
Yeah, I feel like if I was to give MVP of stage 1, I would give it to Lib. They're I actually swear he was just the best hit scan this season.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think
him
Checkmate looks incredibly solid, and I think what Jugbuck's done with Ziad, he seems really, 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 really good. And I think that actually, that team. I mean, I don't necessarily expect them to do too much at the tournament, but I think that's probably the same for most non-Korean teams realistically. But actually, I think it is a credit to EU that there is some like just insanely like the region is actually super competitive now. I think like for sure they deserve to go.
Well,
and I think
a lot of
VP
these
is actually really fucking good. Like actually, like Smash has done like an insane job there. Like they like just the way they play, it's yeah. So I think like the teams that maybe we expected would have like roster holes. It was actually it was pretty difficult to exploit them in the end because the rosters ended up playing out better than than we expected. You know.
I think if you did like a survey at the start of the stage and you said like who are going to be the best players in EMEA in stage 1, people would have said stuff like Kevster, Quartz, Psycho, something like this. But then actually, like the best performers are all these players. Like it's like Lubda, ZETA had a great stage 1, Shockwave as well, Jwoo. I guess maybe like you can gamble a little bit of Korean import here, but I feel like Landon as well actually had like a really good one. Like Landon, I think was a player I think quite a few people thought would maybe get like, especially in a hero ban meta, could get targeted more than some of the other flex supports. But that's turned out not really to be true at all. And I think like all of these players that have like risen to the top have had the best stage 1s and like thoroughly deserve it. So it's been really impressive. And if anything, like good sign for EMEA in terms of like depth of strength of like players.
Yeah, I can't remember if we said this. Maybe we said it on the Q&A, but like I think there was like maybe the thought was that in EU, whoever gets Kevster and Psycho, there's just going to be this like chasm like for the other teams. Like there's just going to be like fuck, who do we get? Like who's the next best? And actually, what ended up happening was like the way that maybe Gen G is the one exception because it felt like actually their roster did have holes and they did fall short in a lot of ways. Because of the way that. Yeah, I mean, the way that most teams use their imports, they actually built really like they really like plugged the holes, you know? Like I don't know who VP would have got if it wasn't like the way that they actually did use their imports was pretty solid. And I think
they might have got Blitz Kellen, you know, like
yeah. One thing,
I think it was
cope, if you want the cope, I forgot to say the cope.
Of course.
I feel like this is the cope, okay? But everything I've said before was all true, but we need a bit of cope. I think we got the rule change about the roster before or after thing that actually fucked us more than any team in the fucking world. Because it's actually like if like the way that flexibility works in this game now with the roster changes, you need to be a team that can threaten Winston on every map. So like if you're like Max's team or like Crazy Raccoons, you will get Winston bans on like the pole or something, right? Whereas if you're a team that like us that maybe wants to play the dive where it's most optimal, if KSA is in on the maps where Winston's not most optimal, then they're always just rainy day saving their fucking Ana and Winston bans, you know? And because there's no opportunity for us to threaten Winston on Esperanza because we play our cards by showing them our lineup, you know? And it actually means that, like, if the rule is the other way, I think teams would have to ban Winston on maps because they don't because we could play it, you know. But for us, it was really difficult to threaten Winston or dive on every map unless you played to chase every map. But then you just were constantly in this situation where it just felt really, really difficult to be flexible because we ended up being like one of the easier teams to ban against what we wanted to do because we by default had to show our hand immediately with the roster stuff. So I don't know, maybe that rule change just means that like the concept of like a 7-man roster is maybe it's just like too difficult. Like I don't even in Korea, no one's running like 7. Like most teams aren't even running 6, right? Like even Crazy Raccoons and ZETA run 6, but respectfully, like quite a lot of it feels like relatively cosmetic. Like the
it's just like for
Max Erasure.
Yeah. Like my argument, no offense to any Max heads out there, is that Crazy Raccoon probably would have won everything they won last year without Max. Like maybe this one season is the most that Max has like come in and played. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe we got slightly unlucky there in terms of being able to really maximize what we wanted.
It does feel very different from the Esports World Cup in terms of how the bans are working and affecting things. I don't know how much of that is meta really, but it feels like at the Esports World Cup, there was so much more in terms of map strength and being able to play to your big strengths. If you had a good dive team or if you had a good brawl team, it felt like every team that had that specialism just had a couple of maps where once you go to that pick, it's so hard for the other team, even if they're the favourite for it. Whereas it doesn't quite feel like that anymore.
I feel like it seems a bit more balanced, like right now. Like you're kind of incentivized to maintain a 5-man roster and just go with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's objectively true. I think whether that's a good or a bad thing, because I guess in theory it means like less jobs for people in Overwatch. But I think it does. I think it rewards a team that is like flexible within the 5-man roster, as opposed to. I was thinking this the other day. Was like, is it possible that across Overwatch history, like the optimal number of players in every roster has always just been like 5 or 6, depending on if it's Overwatch 1 or Overwatch 2? Like, did any team in like, you remember the fucking early days of Overwatch League when everyone was fucking 12, 10, 11 man? Would any of team actually been better if they just picked the 6 best players and just played them the whole time?
Do you not remember when London won Season 1 after cutting 5 of their 12 roster?
Yeah.
And it was like, we fired half the guys, everyone's mentally boomed from the season, but everything's fixed itself. So maybe there's less is more type situation.
Yeah.
I think, like, unless you have like underlying issues of like hero pools, having just a 5-person core is just like so much better right now. Like, you just have all the practice. I feel like the more you split your practice time between different comps, or like you have to sub out people just to be able to play different comps, it makes it so easy to like play around. Like you can't like counter swap near as much mid map as well because you lose that capability.
It changes your counter swaps as well, right? Like if you're playing into a certain composition, they do X, we're going to do Y, but maybe that's fine when you have one tank in, but it doesn't work when you have the other tank in all of a sudden. And you sort of have to have almost like different strategies and different approaches, and it just gets it just makes everything umpteen times more complicated or complex, so everything just gets a bit shallower practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I don't think it was actually too eventful in EMEA in many ways, just because actually by the end of it, these two teams just looked good for it.
Yeah, maybe TM ended up crashing out. Maybe they would feel the most disappointed.
I think
because they were also a team that most people expected like really to win it.
Quite similar to Team Liquid, really, in terms of like strength of the roster on paper. Feels like they should be a slam dunk for one of these spots, or at least, you know, like maybe if they miss out by like Team Liquid miss by like a close 3-2 or something. But it felt like they actually weren't close in the end, even though they had a bit of redemption. Ultimately, they really only beat Gen G, who looked pretty awful once it came to playoffs. So they've only beaten a very weak team, then lose 3-0 to you guys. It feels like Twisted Minds have really had, and obviously they kind of agree, right? Because they've gotten rid of Ben, the head coach, in the meantime. So it feels like they obviously agree there's some problems. Yeah. Where do we really think it was, right? Because like on paper, kind of very few complaints about the roster. Yeah,
and the meta, to be fair, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess like with the same. I guess I feel somewhat the same with Team TL as I do TM. Is they still have an additional like Korean import slot, so they can maybe fix some stuff. I don't know how good Irony ended up playing. Not that good, I think. I wonder if there is a way to do that more. I don't know. Even TM, maybe there was an argument genuinely that like again them being a team that splits playtime between Haddy and TVNT hurt them more than it helped them. Like across, like they were like always going back and forth and stuff. So I don't know. I don't really know. It's like it's hard to really say you should get roster changes if you TM, because it's really hard to see upgrades. Yeah,
and I think it's people talk about it quite a lot in terms of all the teams that have failed to qualify. The first question is, are there going to be personnel changes? But I feel like you can make an argument for upgrades in a lot of positions, but the harder part of the question is always who's the replacement, right? Like it's easy enough to say, should we get someone better? Probably always want to do that, but who's actually available and would be willing to go and stuff like this to actually upgrade the roster and push it above? Like maybe if they do target like backline, it is maybe like a Maka or Vigilante type angle. But obviously Vigilante's been on TM before, and left pretty promptly after his first day as well. So I don't know how he would really feel about a return visit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's potentially tough. Yeah.
How's like the scrim like in EU? Because like you guys have like 6 like pretty competitive teams. Like I think you guys have like a pretty clear advantage in terms of like scrim quality compared to NA.
Yeah, I don't know how your scrims against. Did you scrim any EU teams at all?
we scrimmed VP twice, and we like won pretty convincingly both times. But those are the only EU scrims we ever did.
Yeah, that's interesting because everyone in the EU that we scrimmed Max's team, for example. I think we're something for 18-0 against them, and it was actually they were in our scrims. SSG was worse than Peps by far. It was by far the easiest scrim that we played, and then we heard that TM had similar experiences with SSG and maybe TL. So I think a lot of EU teams cancelled all of their NA scrims because actually the EU vibe was that NA is just really, really, really dog shit. But then I also heard towards the end Max started to win scrims against VP maybe had the hardest time against NA compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
But I think for you guys were super fucked when it gets to playoffs because you couldn't scrim one or two teams and then you just had whereas for us it was always, in theory, we always had pretty good practice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it was just Max's scrims performance that just makes me think NA is absolute dog shit. But we're talking NA versus EU. But at least based off what I heard from us and TM was it felt actually I mean the scrims are slightly capper too because you guys are on 4 million ping and stuff.
I think you're reading you go actually finish that off. So.
Yeah, we at least felt internally that the NA meta read was pretty questionable and that it was I don't know. I guess if there was a clash of the Titans, it feels like EU would win. But that is based off literally free scrims, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a little wrong to be honest. I'm pretty sure that VP scrimmed Nightmare and Nightmare had good performances and you guys scrimmed Liquid and Liquid had good performances as well. And if that's possible, then 100% it's not that far. You know, the gap isn't that big. We scrimmed VP in the final couple of days and we won both of the scrims. We just changed the ping situation so that then instead of I think we played on East or something instead. Or maybe I think we played on Europe with lower min lat, something like that. Oh no, we must have played on East. I can't even remember what it was. But either way, it was we changed something about the ping situation so that we weren't Alex gets 160 ping and all of the guys in Utah get 150 and the Europeans get 105, 110 to East Coast, you know?
It's only if you don't have Saudis. If you have Saudis, NA is impossible because it's 200 plus, I think.
But basically, you said that the meta raid was sauce. But then there was heaps of main tank play from Crazy Raccoon. You know, obviously Crazy Raccoon lost the grand final, but Crazy Raccoon played heaps of the NA stuff. You know, Winston and and shit like
kind
that.
of. I mean,
we were harder forces, right? Obviously we were forces, but we're not trying to lean into this elite level, top tier Crazy Raccoon flexibility, right? We're just trying to play water with strength. Whereas you guys have more off tank players and stuff. I don't think that the gap is that big at all between EU and NA. To be honest, we get shit on in our EU scrims, right? Or we got shit on in a lot of our EU scrims. You know, we got our shit pushed in by you, by Alcad, by VP, all at different points. But then it was literally in the final couple of days. It's we fixed the ping situation with VP, and it's oh look, we can win the Malga Mirror, and we win with Winston. You know, we're winning the scrims now. So we're we're just a fucking atrocious scrim team, and we're playing at a ping deficit. Was my feeling. And I think you probably didn't scrim much of NA at all, but I don't think that the gap is monumental. You know, I can see a case where it's you could win a match on LAN. I'm not saying that NA dominates, but I also don't think that it goes either way. I don't think that either region is astoundingly better than the other. To be perfectly honest, I think that EU and NA are both at this level of being yeah, we're pretty all right. But then Korea is just so head and shoulders above everyone else. It's not even close.
That's a problem for another day. Another month for Chris.
It's
yeah.
I mean, I think about the top two teams in China, and I think OA is a really good team. You know, if I was looking at OA's roster, in Overwatch League, you'd always be thinking geez, if these guys can play what they're good at, this team's going to come top 4 in the world. You know, this is a really, really good team. But it's a question of how do they stand up to the fact that they haven't played for so long? They didn't do very well at EWC and stuff, but they've been playing again, and they look really good in their matches. And then even Team CC's roster, initially people were saying I was really clocked out of China. Initially people were saying oh, Rock is going to be so good. You know, Rock's got these Korean players. It's I think Team CC's roster is just better. Team CC's roster is full of all the other Chinese players that are really, really good. Team CC just has a really solid roster as well. And I mean, obviously OA is better. OA is the top dog. But I think those top two teams out of China, really not that bad either. After that, the level falls off tremendously, like seriously a huge fall off. But I think top 2 in China is both like pretty solid, can like punch like equally with NAEU.
Especially if it's like dive better. Like if it's Winston or Ball, like those teams are
No,
so
exactly. It's like there has never been a time that a team wasn't scared to verse the Hangzhou Spark on Winston on a brick. Yeah. And there's
Falcons aren't scared, mate. They just need the Ham Winston.
They should be, scared, but they're not scared.
Ham Winston was all that was separating fucking Falcons from winning the mirrors. You know, it was fucking Fearless's fault all along. But I think we're good for it now.
Gaga's like insane at ball as well. Like I think those Chinese teams can really like punch above.
Gaga's so good. Ball Winston both. Like
he's insane. Like that guy was so fucking good. Yeah. I think the EU teams, like, because it's like a bubble of like off tanks, they'll actually like struggle a lot in China. Like whether
that's maybe why both of you guys had success against VP, where no one in EU did, was because like EU just fully handshook. We're just playing fucking Maga and Diva everywhere, and we don't need to worry about the rest. I just like what I was saying with the meta readers. I really feel like, obviously not to like. You qualified and I didn't, so I get that. But I feel like to play like Winston everywhere feels like it's a real fucking push, you know? Like even like Crazy Raccoons, I think like
it's just because we were playing Maga elsewhere, but like in Korea they do more of like Maga with double flex support stuff, and we didn't really lean into that. Yeah. And then like we tried in grand final, like we tried. I can't even remember if we Maga mirrored Liquid in the match. I think we did on like Root, and that was it, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was just rude, and maybe we should have done so on Esperanza as well, because we lost that too. But it's not like we weren't practicing Malga and we weren't playing Malga. We just didn't feel like we had the best. Malga felt like it was fairly even, or maybe a little bit disadvantaged versus Liquid, and Winston just felt like we had an edge. So like, let's just lean into that. You know, like it's okay to have like 2.5 plans. But you watch like the top of Korea, and it's like, oh, they can play more than 2 comps, like these guys are fucking insane. These are truly the top 2 teams in the world, top 3 teams in the world if you count ZETA, which we won't because of Fin Erasure. But like
I think you guys look like
fuck you, Fin. I'm gonna spin you up, Fin.
Did you ever scrim the EMEA teams much on Malga, like Malga Mirror? Or did you mostly just play Winston against them when you got a chance?
We played a bit of both. Like we tried to counter Winston or Malga with Winston, and we did. And then we would also play the Malga mirror because it's like good practice. But like again, like we got like fully packed up by like Alcad and TU. Like we only scrimmed TU once, we only scrimmed TM once, we only scrimmed Alcad once, and like all of these teams, like it was before we started scrimming on the lower ping and had our little regain, because we had like more than a week where we just lost every single scrim, like almost 0-6 right before the grand finals. Like
slingshot you lost.
Like a scrim slingshot.
You did your slingshot in private, Chris. This is the difference you need for next season.
Dude, I mean,
slingshot win the match.
Bro, you guys are probably the reason why we couldn't find any EU scrims, because literally everyone was. I don't know if people were saying no to us, but like we had a Kadzaya scrim and they cancelled on us. We only scrimmed VP twice.
They all cancel and stuff. Like, dude, we got cancelled on for Ramadan. Like,
Ramadan actually affected scrims like insanely. Every scrim was like half an hour late for Ramadan and stuff. But I think that was it. Like, I mean, maybe we were wrong, but that was like the EU vibe was like you talked to anyone was like NA is just absolute shit. Like, and we were just, I think, I
just think the fact that like that was the vibe, and then like we thought too, like shit, EU is like really significantly better, and then it's like no wait, we're just losing every scrim, like even in America too, and then we had a little slingshot moment where it was like we kind of turned it around mentally and such, and I started picking a different lobby in the scrim, and then it's like, oh, we're not actually a 0-16 versus VP, we just won 2 scrims in a row. It's like maybe we're not the worst team in the entire universe, maybe we actually can win, and maybe Europe is not absolutely unbeatable. Maybe JWoo Fixer, like for all of their good points, it's not like prime proper fielder, like it's just
I think those 2 EU scrims we had were like big confidence boosters, because everyone was going around saying how VP were like insane, all the EU teams are so much better than
so beatable.
And then we just like I think we only scrimmed them twice, but it was like the first one was like a lot of hazard mirror, and like we were just winning that, and then the second one they were playing like more Morga, and we were still playing like hazard and ram. I don't know, that like they were decent, but like everyone was like hyping them up way more. I mean, it's also just a fucking scrim. And
I think
it's
like
probably,
some of it
more
is-
for them.
You go.
I was gonna say some of it as well will be if VP are just hitting every scrim and just playing Malga Mirror for 75% of their scrims or
And then versus
something.
us playing
Then all of a
different stuff.
sudden they're playing against a Winston Anna in a bunch of these situations or something. It's like a new comp matchup they're going to be worse at. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
if I'm not mistaken, like everyone's boot camping in Korea, right? So that boot camp for the 8 teams will probably see a meta form sometime before China. And anyone who's going to have to play into some Winston, probably going to get some experience, even if you want to keep playing the Malga or some other version, you're going to get experience into the Koreans or the Chinese teams hitting the dive on you. So in theory, there's like more time to learn and also a lot more pressure to actually be able to deal with that, because there's going to be 4, maybe 5, 6 teams who are going to at this land that are going to really want to play a lot of Winston Anna if they can in some situations.
Yeah, I think like every team outside of EU will look to play dive comps versus the EU teams.
Yeah.
Just because it's like something they historically don't really verse near as much.
Yeah.
Or
They
have
like,
the players
they have
to
like less
mirror.
crack on it, and they're all just gonna play like Diva and Torb, and just say a little prayer. See who comes out on top.
Drop a little inshallah.
Should we talk about the teams that are going to win the land then ultimately? Because Asia playoffs happened as well.
You're talking about Nightmare and SSG, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna mirror Crazy Raccoons, and Johnny B is gonna be looking for a new job after that.
Johnny B's so cooked, dude. And his tether.
He's gonna be out of it. They're gonna be
Dude,
so
he's
boomed.
So I think Winston mirrors to like a 25-year-old man on that plays off tank. Like it's over, dude. Like his career is done.
It might just be.
Yeah.
Hopefully the stages like face each other, because they probably don't have much conflict
I thought you were
in their lives. So
something up for us.
you stand up and you fucking give it to them, and they'll be like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, I've never dealt with this before. Like this is too."
This like circular World Cup stage.
Yeah. You're fucking dog shit.
Yes. That'd be
You
good.
sit across from Hanbin, he'll just be able to see you the entire time.
Fuck. He's gonna be fucking. That's gonna be
Staring you down
distracting. He's just gonna be looking at me the entire
He's gonna
time.
be looking at
Yeah.
you. You're
That's
gonna be
gonna get
trying
in
to
my
nail your
head.
primal, and he'll just be staring you down the entire time.
He's gonna see I vault before I even do. Fuck.
So where do we start here, really? Because maybe like Falcons have a big story to start with, because they played the upper bracket and they got smashed, absolutely smashed by Crazy Raccoon, and it felt like Crazy Raccoon had. Well, they did literally book their flight with that match, but it felt like they were just going to walk away with the title as well here. And all of a sudden, we get to the grand final, and Falcons have turned it around massively. What's the difference between A and B here? Because it wasn't a lot of time, but the result is dramatically different.
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I think Falcons
Let's
like
ham Binston.
Well,
Falcons like really tossed the first series. Like they were doing like
wacky stuff like this.
Well, it wasn't just that, right? Like they were playing Han Binston, and I think they played Han Bin Ball and Suravasa as well. Like they were just playing
For a
heaps
little
of
bit,
Han
they
Bin
tried
main
it.
tank.
It was like
Yeah,
everywhere,
like-
right?
They were playing it like all over the place, like lots of Han Bin main tank. Whereas like in the grand final, they played one Koth point of ball where they instantly got 100 owed, and they had an actual miracle Gibraltar win with Han Binston, like a real miracle Gibraltar win. But beyond that, like overall, like they just played more of the stuff that makes sense for them, Hanbin was on off tanks for like the vast majority of the series, and it was like super close, Like if they didn't get this miracle Gibraltar win with the Han Binston, like they were
map
about to
7,
get full
right?
hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a map 7 situation. Like they were about to get full hold, and they capped first, second, and third with overtime,
win
the
overtime,
map. Yeah. And it's like Crazy Raccoon, like they were actually griefing. Like I remember, like on their first defense, they were so aggressive and they were hard dominating. And then on the second defense, they were like super passive. Like really, they gave up like heaps of car push and heaps of space for free. And it's just like
It was really
Falcons
uncharacteristic.
just tossed.
Right? Like,
They just tossed the
yeah.
first time. Yeah. These teams always play close. Like these teams literally always play close. The more disappointing one was ZETA, to be honest, because they didn't even come close. They just got blown out of the water. But I mean, is there any surprise? Any surprise here?
Well, it feels like the narrative, because obviously last year we had Zeta Division 3-2 narrowly miss out, 3-2 narrowly miss out to Falcons both times, and then we get, people tell me third time lucky, but third time not lucky at all on this occasion. It wasn't even close. They got blown out of the water. I think problems with the draft, but I think even if you take out the problems in the draft, they lost all the other maps as well before we got to like the big problem draft as well. So what's really the big problem here with ZETA? Or is there a big problem, or are they just stuck eternally third, but behind Crazy Raccoon and Falcons?
I mean, this team would fuck up like any other team in any other region. Like, it's just a shame that they only get 2 slots.
They're like the third best. They're the third best team in the world. They're just like almost definitively the third best team in the world because Falcons and Crazy Raccoon are just that little bit better. Like not. This isn't even like a Finn spin doctor narrative, but it's like Finn is just the worst of those 3 flex supports, right? Like Fielder and Shu is just better, right? Like Proper and Stalker is just like a marginally better DPS line than Alfie and Flora / Pelican, like they've got the 3 in there. But like at the end of the day, it's just, I think Burner's probably like the better off tank, right? Like I think Burner's a better off tank than Harmon nowadays. Like he's probably had like stronger performances in a lot of situations. Maybe that's cuFFa actually, because like Harmon's got like a better Zarya and Harmon's got the Harm instant on him. But like Diva performances, like Burner's been crazy. Like Burner looked way better at Hazard than Harmon did.
Yeah,
stuff
I think
like that.
Burner's better at Malga as well. Even his Malga.
Burner's better at Malga.
But
so I guess it's a bit like a bit of a trade there. But it's just the fact that like these players are just like a teensy tiny little bit worse. Like the support line is for sure worse. Violet has more flexibility, but he also has brainworms. So like, every now and then Violet's going to throw the series in a way that you'll never see. You will literally never see throw a series in the way that Violet throws series. And the DPS line is just that little bit worse. Like Flora, he's actually had like insane performances on Sojourn recently. Like I always thought that Flora was like, really mid on hit scan, but he's actually like, he's no longer mid. He's actually like really elite on hit scan at this point. Like he's punching up with all of these guys. Like he's playing to that level, but he can't press H and play to that level on anything else. Like Lip can go and play Tracer and be good enough.
Sombra,
yeah, and obviously Sombra.
I feel like as well, because I feel like maybe last year the narrative might have felt like, say, a division. It's like, we got Violet, who is just more dodgy more times or more frequently than Chio and Chirong. And Flora's just always that bit worse than Stalker / Proper / Lip on hit scan. But it feels like actually, maybe even in playoffs especially, I don't think Violet had too many dodgy moments actually. Thought Flora has probably been playing some of his best Overwatch, like better than last year for sure. But it's still not enough to close the gap. And is there a point with ZETA Division, if you are just stuck in this eternally third, because their ambitions obviously are higher, right, to break into the top 2, what needs to change to make that happen? Or is it even possible?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like the thing with ZETA is like the only times they ever look ahead of the others is I feel like it's just when they just read the meta earlier. Like I feel like they were like quite strong at the start of this meta and that's when they were winning a lot of the games in the first 17 times they all play each other, like they do in Korea. But I don't know, like I feel like the big thing for Korea in general is like this like someone merit situation, like presumably they play for someone in the next stage. Like I would be really surprised if they weren't playing for some sort of Korean team. But to be fair, like it's like, okay, maybe someone will be an upgrade for ZETA, but at the same time, like what Max is saying is true, right? Like Bernard is like the least of the problems, and someone would fix all of the, like even if you get someone in merit on ZETA, I don't think like you're still getting gapped in all the roles that you were getting gapped before, and I don't know if there is like, maybe we said this last week too, it feels like in Korea, like the certain positions that like what you want to do is that you want to combine ZETA and T1, but it's all really high quality tanks and all high quality like hit scans and stuff, and it's just like it's a little bit difficult to, even if you put every other team in the world together, I don't know if you can build a team that beats the top 2, like at least on like player for player quality,
Yeah, because it's not, there's no combination of players that makes another flex support better than Shu Fielder. That makes, maybe like the main support, like these new era main supports, like what are they called? Way. Like people like Lucio Min and stuff, where it's like their Lucio is like nothing special, their Briggs like nothing special, but they have these like outrageously exceptional Kirikos and stuff like that. They're basically doing like what Violet's been doing for a while, but maybe doing it a little better, to be honest. But it comes at the cost of them being worse at like Lucio and Brig and stuff. So I really think like, there's no like one change that makes these teams better than the top 2, because the top 2 are not the best because they have this like outrageous roster construction gap. In like one role, it's like it's there everywhere, like they just have the best at the best, so it's really, really hard to punch up to these teams. They dominated all of last year, kind of looks like they're set to dominate all of this year again. You can't just spawn a new player to fix it, and like there's actually lots of main tank talent. There's someone and Dongak in Korea just there, just losing, just not coming top 2. And like, so
can't catch a break.
yeah. And it's like these guys are good enough to be top 2, top 4 in the world. You know, you could sub any of these players in and out for like, you know, Juman or Burner or Harmban or whatever, and like you'd probably see the same results for these teams. Like they'd all be the best because they're that good across every role, not just across one.
I mean, there's a world where we're just gonna see ZETA and maybe even a 4th Korean spot for the next 2 lands this year, right? Like in the rules, there's like if your region does well, you'll get extra slots. Like Korea's definitely gonna get an extra slot. I mean, EWC will have probably more teams regardless, but come Sweden, they're gonna have more slots, and there's gonna be 3 Koreans at least, 3 Korean teams at least.
Yeah,
it'll be good to actually be able to see them there. ZETA.
Well, one thing I will say about ZETA, like, you know, just to push the spin doctor narrative a little bit more, is that I think they like genuinely have a coaching problem. Like, because their drafts are like, we joke about it like all the time, but like they're actually fucking brain dead in the draft. Like you watch them play and you look at their drafts in these matches and they actually just constantly make like critical game losing mistakes, you know? Like you cannot justify what they're doing in the draft sometimes. Like it's so dumb, you know? Like at least if I protect ban for an entire series and we lose, you know, at least I can explain that I was protect banning, right? But like, how do their coaches justify the fact that they go to Gibraltar with a Winston ban available and D.Va ban available for the enemy team, and then they ban Brig to enable D.Va? So then the enemy team has, you know, a couple of brain cells and just insta-bans D.Va, and then suddenly Burner has to play Winston versus Crazy Raccoon, you know? And then not only do they do that once, they do it twice! 2 matches in a row, they make the same mistake. And it's like, how is this possible?
There's a bigger problem. Because do you know who picked for bloody map? ZETA Division. Why are we going to Gibraltar?
They have to be like so confident in like some fucking.
They must have an insane scrim win rate, Andre.
I think somebody said. I think one of the players
Binston must be insane.
I think one of the players said this in the Discord or something. It's like, oh yeah, we had really good scrim results in that, and I was like, I just don't believe you. Because also, like, let's say, complete benefit of the doubt, I do believe you. You had the good scrim results. But is it the best of all the options against Crazy Raccoon? It surely isn't, right? You've got, like,
one of the
other
few
maps
maps
to pick from.
Yeah.
Like, do you not just go to a Sig? Like, let's go Havana, let's get Max in, let's see if we can get some Sig or Zarya Mirror on the go or something. You know, like, there's no way you can justify Gibraltar was the best of all the options, especially if you're not going to ban Winston or something.
Yeah, I feel like the way to beat Crazy Raccoons is like they always look significant. Yeah, it's just getting
Max in. You got to keep tricking them to get Max in.
Yeah, like if even like one of the best teams in the world can't make it work with like integrating a 6-player roster to be as strong as their 5-man, like it's just like so obvious that 5-man rosters is just the way. Like, they always look way weaker when Max is in over jumping.
Yeah. I think it's nice with bands that, you know, finally you can, like, actually point the finger and be like, you know, maybe there is, like, a genuine, like, coaching problem just because you can, like, see the decisions the coach is making in real time.
They have 3 coaches too, right? Like, they have the most coaches in the world.
It's not even... I feel like it's on the players as well, though. Like, there's no way it's just the coaches that have, like, sole discretion in the bands.
I feel like you can see them talking about it in the dugout, you know? But that's a part of the problem, to be honest. Like, if you like rely on like player input for the bans, like in the middle of matches and stuff, you need to have like really, really high confidence that the players actually have like a really good perspective and like understand what's going on.
Fucking brain dead.
Yeah, exactly. Because like people just be saying shit, you know. Like it's actually really hard to listen to the players about stuff like that in the middle of a match because it's like they are focused on playing. Yeah, they're focused on playing the game and they don't see the big picture the same way that you do. It's like your job as a coach to like understand the bigger picture and see what's going on. So like if you need to like super heavily rely on player input in the middle of a match, like you're probably like too clueless, you know?
I feel like you can get like a pretty good gauge of like what bans you want to do on each map before the series, especially if you know like the team.
Yeah.
Like I don't think bans is like something that's like too complicated for people to work out.
Tell that to fucking Changoon, dude.
Yeah, I might have to. I'll fucking put him on the line.
You won't. You're not going to see him there.
Oh yeah.
That's all right, man. You can see him at the Soop Cup.
Yeah, at the Soop Cup, we'll give him a little interview. That'll be hyped though. Soop Cup. SSG won't be there though.
Cried.
What's happening with the Soop Cup? Are you guys going to be in Korea at the time?
Yeah, I think VP and us are playing. I don't know if there's other teams invited. I think
That's
SSG
actually really fun, actually. That's really fun.
That's really
Because
cool.
there's always this question we have, right? Which is like, you do the power rankings of the teams, and the question is how Korean, like what number does the team stop being Korean? Like, I think we could have coped last season that, because in EWC, West finished second, you know? Like, we played ZETA kind of close, and
West.
Toronto beat them. The West with someone
in merit.
But I feel like this year,
Single elim.
it's so hard to cope that any Western team has beaten ZETA, right? Even as the best coper in the world, I feel like at the very least, the top 3 teams in the world are Korean, right? But then, like, imagine VP and Nightmare get fucking blown out by, like, FTG or something. Then the reality is the power rankings are like, it's like 8 Korean teams
lower.
and then the rest, you know? So I'm kind of hoping you guys at least, like you fucking put up
Throw
a fight,
a few punches.
You know? Yeah.
I'm not really
ZETA
sure.
can
Like,
win, but I'm looking for like second or third from you guys, if that's okay.
Who's in it from Korea?
I actually
It'll
don't
be
know.
everyone outside the top 2, right? Or maybe the top 2 will still play.
Maybe they might. Because I think it's like on the 12th and 13th of April. That's like towards the end
So
of
nothing else will be going
boot
on.
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that I can't see Crazy Raccoon and Falcons making the decision to play in the tournament the week before but maybe they will. I hope they do, actually. It'll be good to see.
Yeah, I think it's like good experience for us as well.
Is it going to be on LAN as well? You're going to play it like the arena?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or like the venue thing they normally use for VOTS Korea?
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Yeah,
can I talk about how we got fucking baited by 9K now? Like
Yeah.
9K?
9K
What
messages me because 9K is like involved in the production or something for Soop Cup. I'm not sure what his direct role is, but he messages me and he says, "Hey, you come into Korea, you want to play in the Soop Cup?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're coming for like these dates." And he says, "Oh, I don't know if we can do that because you're going to miss the first week of games because we're not in Korea until the first week of games is already over." And I'm like, "Okay, sure," because the games are before anyone is in Korea, basically. And I said, "Who else is coming?" And he said, "VP's going to come." And I asked Nightmare, but Nightmare said they probably can't. And he's like, "If we move the schedule and you only play in the second week, would you be interested?" And I said, "Let me talk to my team and I'll get back to you." And then 2 days later, I reply to him and I say, "Yo, 9K, we're down. Like, if we're just playing the second week, we'll be there. We're down. We'll come." And he says, "Oh, too late. Nightmare said yes now, so we can't change the schedule anymore." So
There's no space for you?
My understanding of what happened is they asked Nightmare. Nightmare said no. They asked us. We said wait. Nightmare said actually we can, and they removed our spot at the Soop Cup. That's my estimation of events, basically. Like, they offered Seed 1. We said Seed 1 said, "Oh, we probably can't," or something. So they came to us. And then we were like, hang on, let me check. And then I kind of, like, I asked Team Chat and I just didn't, like, aggressively follow it up. And then 2 days later, I did follow it up. And 9K decided instead of following it up with me, he could follow it up with Seed 1 and get Nightmare for the LAN instead. So now we're missing out on the Soop Cup. And my whole team is like, fuck you, Hunter. Why are we missing the Soop Cup?
Yeah, he
Like,
asked
there's a
GgulTaek.
snooze and a lose situation here that you seem to have
Something
been
about birds
victims
and
of.
worms?
Yeah,
I swear I
this is
saw like them tweeting that they were like doing like an open qualifier for like other teams and they were like recruiting more players. Like the tweet, like I translated it and it was like looking for more teams for the thing after they said no to you. So
It's probably
probably for the
because
open
like
qualifier,
they want people for like the earlier brackets, but like
Yeah.
for us, there'll be like a bracket skip involved where we're going to go deep into the brackets. So like because we're not going to make the first week of the tournament and we have to be there through a bracket skip, there's limited slots that they can provide for that, right?
That's really good news, actually, for the tier list of how far up the Western teams can get in the Korean rankings, because automatically you're going to be above a bunch of them through the tier through
true.
bracket skip. Anything else worthwhile from Korea? I feel like is there anything to worry about for Crazy Raccoon here? Because obviously they did lose that grand final. And they're now on the end of like a double Han Binston sweep on Gibraltar. Is there like a point here where you should be worried if you're Crazy Raccoon?
I think they should give up on Winston on a Brig. They just can't do it.
I think their breaking point is when they lose to a white man on that hero.
It's like same with us, you know, like we with Kellen are never going to play Winston Arno again versus cuFFa because it's like we've reached the determination that it is a completely unbeatable matchup, and there's no universe where we can turn that around. Like 2 maps lost, three maps lost in that matchup. Give up.
It's just a white man's hero nowadays. Find some shit.
Harman is not a white man.
Classic white man Harman. We're claiming him for the. We're claiming him, guys.
But he's taking the style of the white man and he's bringing it to Korea. You see?
The style style of being bad at the hero and translated it back to Korean.
My favorite white man, Hambin. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I mean, he's close enough when he's on Winston. Like that's like the change.
White dudes for Hambin. Like,
Honestly,
Get that on a shirt.
When I watch those replays back as well, every single moment in that Gibraltar attack, it's impossible Falcons are going to win. Like, if you pause it 2 minutes in, you'll be like, doesn't feel like Falcons are winning this. You pause it 4 minutes in, it's impossible Falcons. You pause it 6 minutes in, it's impossible they're going to win. Yet somehow, there's always a way. That first attack, I think in like their overtime, Hambin is just on coast, right-clicking the entire time, and Falcons just do everything else. And it's like, cheers,
Sniper monkey. Yeah.
He's to be fair, he's playing like someone who's not confident in Winston. Like, he's just playing like hyper
Safe. Yeah.
Don't make any mistakes. Just counter jump the other Winston when I can. Just, don't feed and wait for Stalker to fix for problems.
Just hopefully Stalker will kill everyone. Passion, it's a heart diff.
Yeah.
There's so much fucking heart on Nightmare, dude. Like, you see a Winston on a brick mirror with Nightmare versus any Korean team, the passion's going to start shining through, I promise you.
If we beat Koreans on fucking dive,
you will.
Yeah. I'm going to like get up on the stage. I'm going to start giving to them, bro. You seen like the COD lands where they just start fucking yelling at them?
Pop off, yeah.
And just walk to the other side of the stage, dude. Take off your headset, just get up in their face. Give up.
They speak some fucking Korean.
I've been watching the CS event because it's been on like midweek, and they're playing in the studio. So the teams are there on land, but there's no crowd or anything. They're only going to do a crowd for like the actual playoff part of it. So we're just there in the studio. And you just hear the players just aggressively shit talking each other after every round because they're just sitting next to each other in a pretty quiet room, just screaming at each other after every round. So you bring some of that energy.
There's like the one of like the Call of Duty majors on right now. And there's just like the one Australian guy on one of the teams. He just gets up after the win. He's like, "You fat fucks! You guys are so fucking shit." You're gonna have to bring that to Overwatch.
That'll get you competitively banned in Overwatch, dude. Like,
yeah, I think I might have to start like a GoFundMe after the LAN if I get a few fucking fines. Gotta build up the PR somehow. That's why I'm like a piss random.
Dude. It's like you're kicked from the tournament. You're kicked from your college. Like, it's just fucked, dude. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for this.
There really isn't. It's just not looking good. I've got the passion, but there's just no.
There's so much heart, dude. Like, can we get a GoFundMe for a kid with a bit of heart?
Yeah, a little bit of grit.
Yes, dude, grit, gumption. He's got it all, dude. Like, seriously.
I actually have it all. It's like the trifecta.
Yeah. Jeez, dude. I mean, you would think you'd be better at Malgi, the 2 hearts thing. I mean, I swear you.
No, I don't get that perk. That's maybe why. I think that's why. I didn't get the heart perks. I had no heart. I actually swear that other perk is just better, though.
The
like
run through?
The maps.
Is that the reload one?
I swear people will be taking 2 hearts on push. Like,
why? Yeah, why?
I know.
You still get the healing.
You get it's 20 heals a second though. Like,
I
can't talk. Every time I played Mogo, we lost. So I have
What perk do you take for the second one? Because we always take the
crit.
We always take the
drive-by.
Yeah, KSA fucking loves the fire one.
Right.
Really raised.
Do you remember that, Max? Where we would scrim and I just do drive-bys on you before the perk came out?
Yes.
Imagine if I had the perk. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, no, you were just perma, like, just hooning around, dude. Big turning circle, rolling around the map, like, CBA, dude.
I would just pin around. That was like when we were good at Morga before the perks. It all fell to shit.
The perks ruined it.
It did, yeah.
Perks fucking killed Malga, dude. Everyone's been saying this.
Hot take.
Anything else to touch on for Korea? Maybe like a slight tip of a cap to Wei, who even though they fell short here, I think everyone enjoyed watching them play. Obviously, GgulTaek is maybe the main beneficiary of all of this in terms of a reputation skyrocket, but respectable. You lose to the big 3. It's going to happen to everyone else at some point in the year as well. They just had to go first, and at least they got their 1 or 2 in there. More than
they got T1 out of their partner team.
Yeah.
Pretty respectable run. Poor Dongak though. That guy's like insane, just permanently.
He's so fucking good.
He's cursed.
He's so good.
He's
He's so
cursed.
good. He's so good.
But it doesn't matter because if you're cursed, you're cursed. You know,
It's a
It doesn't-
monkey's
the
paw
effort you put
situation,
in-
unfortunately.
Yeah, like
Even when he had
whatever
the best team in the world, he came 8th. You know, like
Yeah, it's actually so good.
we talk about that same core of players now, like the Chio Fielder Stalker,
They're winning
and we
everything.
say, well, they can't lose. Like they can't lose. The player quality is too high unless Donghack is on the team somehow. Somehow Donghack is the kryptonite that brings everything down.
the guy that
Despite
might be the best tank in the world.
passes the eye test, flying colours every time. Looks so unbelievably good for it, but unfortunately, can't win a thing to save his life.
I swear that T1 series, his team's just falling over permanently. Like I watched his POV and he was genuinely playing like so well every fucking map.
I
His
love
team
his
is just
POV.
like-
It's like the most satisfying POV to watch because it's just
Yeah.
like 0 mistakes, perfect every fight. Like it's always fucking flawless, and then
And
it
he
always
loses
ends in
every
a
map.
defeat. It still ends in a defeat screen, you know.
Maybe that's like maybe that's the thing. He plays too perfect. Like he plays too well that his team just fucking drops the spaghetti everywhere.
It's
They just don't know.
It needs to be worse.
It's because the Korean style of Winston is falling off. The white man style of Winston is on the rise.
That's what I've been saying. If you're not getting pre-fighted before the fucking rounds even started on Winston and then coming back
What are
and
you even
winning,
doing?
what are you even doing? I think every single fucking map I played that hero, I died the first fight instantly.
Yes.
I mean, dude, you had 13 deaths
Hey,
on
hey,
the call, dude. Like,
hey. To be fair, 5 of them were on Morga, but then
7
Bro, I-
on Sanctum.
8.
7.
You can't.
Oh,
wait,
8.
yeah.
I can't even do maths. No, you're right. 8. 8.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, Sanctum and the other one. It was 3 maps. Hey,
Wasn't it?
yeah, it was 3.
Oh yeah, you did win a
Bro,
point.
2-1,
didn't you?
wasn't it? Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
Shrine.
we dropped the. We actually should have
Weren't
won
we
that map.
up? We were up 99-0 on Shrine. And we
Yeah, you guys
fucking-
dropped the fucking sauce. There was a
So
lot of sauce
bad.
being dropped in that series.
That whole series was just like.
You guys were
such
just
a
shitting
piss take.
everywhere. The pants were just like you guys
It's
needed like 3
the
diaper changes
anti-choke-
or something.
We needed the pressure, dude. Like can't win a low stakes game. What the fuck?
And that we take that 10k, that 10k extra. I mean, you guys are getting the fucking big bucks, but that's like that was like
Yeah,
our
you know
life
what?
savior there.
They're genuinely like your salaries just went up by like a massive percentage for the year based on that 10k diff. Like,
Thank you. Yeah.
Then I boot up the stream the next day and it's like, oh, it's okay. It's all okay. welcome. You know, like,
Back to your fucking partner, little salary. Your cozy life of your stream, running the reruns for fucking 3 days straight, farming ads.
I had so many people messaging me like,
got
what's
no
the,
fucking shame.
How much are you making on these reruns, dude? Like, I have no reason to be ashamed, dude. That's my income.
I get it,
you know?
I get it,
Like,
yeah. People are so weird when it comes to that
shameless
shit.
fuck, and it's like, what should I be ashamed of, buddy? Like,
Not
what should I
hurting
be
anyone.
ashamed of?
You gotta
Leaving my
fucking pay
computer
your
on to print
bills.
money with no consequence? Like, what's the?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'd argue it's more ethical than mining cryptocurrency. At least people are getting some entertainment out of this. Like,
Yeah.
God, there was a lot of piss and shit everywhere in that series, though. God. So bad. It was so bad.
It's just all over the floor.
I just remember rewatching the whole thing. It was like, wow. That sucks.
That was like when we're on fucking Nepal against Liquid and I see they swapped a Ram and I'm just laughing. Literally just laughing with fight.
It's like they're playing Ram into us. They banned Honor and they're mirroring Ram. Like, grow up.
All right. We were going to talk about China a bit, but I think that we kind of touched on the key things. I think for like what's happening next. And this should be out before the regular season starts. There's going to be 2 groups that happen next week, and then there's going to be playoffs the week after that. And that'll give us our 2 teams from China who are going to stay in China, but go to the LAN part of it as well. I guess all of them technically get to stay in China. Once again, Rock and Team CC, probably the big 3 there. And actually, the way the bracket falls, it probably means that actually that group stage game between Team CC and Rock Esports is going to be the most important game of the event. Because when they go to playoffs, it's single limb. And the winner of the Team CC Rock group gets to go the nice way of the bracket. The loser of that game has to go through the once again version, meaning they would need to upset once again to qualify for Hangzhou, which is looking really impossible based off what we've seen so far in the qualifiers. So actually pretty big stakes in that group stage next week, but we'll kind of just watch that unfold as it comes. Did you want to talk a little bit about the LAN itself? the Hangzhou LAN coming up, I feel like every team is planning some kind of version of a Korea boot camp, maybe a cheeky Soop Cup, into going out for the LAN itself as well. So what are the expectations here? Because if we can get the bracket up as well, obviously we've got our fixtures for the opening games, but we've maybe alluded to it. Is it just going to be a Korean world once again? Falcons and Crazy Raccoon are basically biding their time to meet each other in the final, and then everyone else is just fighting out for.
Yeah, I think that's how you need to watch it. You need to watch it to see who like wins and then who comes third. That's what's exciting, because I think third place itself, it looks like pretty there for the taking. Like, I guess in my head, I would say maybe Alcad and China 2 are going to be maybe the least likely to get thirds, but I think there's at least 3 or 4 teams that you could see, depending on what day of the week it is, getting that third spot. Best of the rest, maybe. It's not going to be best in the West anymore. It has to be best of the rest.
Best of the rest.
Yeah. How do you think the bracket's going to play out, Max, like, based off you guys' loss? Because I think, like, we would verse the winner of
China
VP
second.
China first, after China second. Like, if we win the first game.
Oh, okay.
We would lose
Are we
to
going to
CR.
verse you in losers?
That's
Or is there a
it.
flip? Because like,
thought-
I don't know if
I
the
think-
Wikipedia is accurate. I don't think the flip happens after the first game. I think it happens later.
It's the second, yeah. So I think
Yeah,
we would verse
Quarterfinals? Okay.
VP or once again for top 4.
Because I saw loads of people, or like a few fucking idiots, complaining on Twitter about like why are EU and NA on the same side of the bracket. But this is objectively the best way to do it, assuming you know that they're gonna fucking lose, you know? Because I think like let's keep it fucking real, guys. Nightmare and Space Station are not meeting in upper bracket semis, you know? Like that's like that match. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So actually, this format actually is probably going to be like, unless there is some fucking crazy shit happens, this is going to allow the least regional inter fucking matches, you know.
I mean, you could argue that if VP and Kadzaya both lose round 1, they'll knock each other out, right? So like maybe that's like a thing.
Yeah, I get. Is that how it works though? I feel like
It doesn't
I-
flip first one. So yeah, they would verse each other, and then if SSG and us both shit the bed, well,
We don't
You're
have
probably
to shit
gonna-
the bed. To
yeah,
wind
you're
up in lowers
you're
after
just gonna
first game,
fucking
buddy.
piss yourself.
yeah, don't
that
shit
you're
the bed
4-1
against
there.
Raccoons, Max. Mate. You better fucking-
Yeah.
if you mess up that draft, Max, you're in big
Fucking
trouble.
hell, You're
Yeah.
getting client of the week for sure. That one.
Yeah, I honestly haven't even looked at the bracket cuFFa other than to look at like the first round games. But my understanding is that like first game we play Crazy Raccoons, so we're straight to lowers. We get to just skip round 1 basically, and then we're just gonna play the loser of your game
Us.
versus China
Yeah.
2, right? And then I think after that game, I'm not sure if there's a bracket flip, right?
It
will at
is a
some
flip.
point,
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
the flip. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's when the flip comes in, and like at that point, I haven't looked any deeper into the bracket, to be honest. Like I don't even know, but we'd be playing something like Alcad or VP, right? Or China
Yeah.
1. Yeah, like it'd be one of these
You guys-
teams, which is like, I don't know, like it's teams that we've scrimmed before, and like, you know, we lost on ping, we won off ping. I think ultimately, like, if VP is beating once again, I'd be like a little bit concerned, I'd say, because like I think, you know, we
They
play
play
against
simple
once
stuff.
again in a dive mirror, and like our biggest strength is a dive mirror. Oh, our biggest strength is a dive matchup.
It was
maybe
up
not a
until the
mirror
grand
because we lost it
finals.
until the grand final. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, but like, you know, I think that I'm gonna keep it $8.50 with you, bro. Like I'm pretty sure that once again is gonna walk all over us in a Winston,
Yeah.
Winston on a brig. You know, like that's their best thing. That's the thing that they were the best in, like arguably the best in the world at for the longest period of time. So like, if those guys wind up in the lower bracket, like if they can't beat VP, like I'd much prefer to play VP than once again, to be honest, because I think once again is like they play our strength but better.
Are you gonna mirror everyone, Max? Have you thought about it?
Have I thought about it? No.
This guy does his job.
It's more of an on the day
okay.
type thing.
Yeah,
Call him
yeah.
as you see him, you know?
I'm excited to see it.
You shouldn't be.
No, because like Max is like the king of like if you take the mirror against these teams, he's gonna fucking shit on you for being a retard. But then also like Max is now in a situation where he's gonna like you're gonna feel the pressure, you know, like back yourselves or not.
I don't think we're feeling a lot of pressure about the China lane, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, I mean
Yeah.
you feel the pressure in your decisions.
Oh.
We'll see what happens.
I feel like
Maybe
NA
you're
has
just
like
maybe you're just a chill guy, you know. You don't
Nah,
like
you-
feel. You don't really give a shit, you know.
Your problem here, Chris, is you're trying to spin the spin doctor, and if the spin doctor can't be spun,
yeah, I mean, like how often do you see a spider trapped in a web? Like, be for real.
It's always the fucking flies or something, isn't it?
And I can just hear something buzzing past my ear, and it's like it can't get any silk out of its ass. So I don't think that anything's gonna happen here. Like, you can just move on.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
think from
China's
the
pretty low
opening
stakes.
bracket, the only interesting game is that VP versus once again one. I feel like the other first one, maybe
Yeah,
Crazy
Night
Raccoon,
versus like CC or something. Like,
I think
Yeah.
NA CC will be good as well. I think.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
there's no guarantee that Nightmare beats CC.
I mean,
from
the
watching
upper
CC.
games are all the first ones are all first to 2, so it'll be like a little bit less interesting.
oh, is it?
Yeah,
yeah, it'll be.
Oh
like
wow, we only have to play 2 maps versus Crazy Raccoon. That's
yeah,
chill.
you don't have to give away too much strategy against them.
We're just gonna put it all on the table, you know. Just gonna roll out on Winston.
Just full meat on the table,
yeah.
up for the chopping block.
Don't chop
Yeah,
my meat,
I think
dude.
it's like the fucking Sweden one. They want everyone to play on like the main broadcast, the main stage at least once. So first to 2.
Okay, here's the real question. We have to do a bet. Is anyone getting visa fucked for this tournament? Like, I feel like it's like.
no, I really think so.
I think it's so on the cards. Like, it's so like. I trust me as a man. I know China. Okay, it's fuck that visa process. That's not a simple one. They don't just give those away. You know. Did anyone get visa fucked from EWC? Because EWC was fucking fine, right? Because like the
Dennis,
Saudi government like basically greenlights all of the visas for it.
Yeah, they all happen super quick. Like,
Did
Yeah.
Dennis get fucked, or was that Stockholm?
Huh?
Did Dennis get
Dennis
visa
got
fucked for one of the tournaments?
Yeah,
I remember.
He missed.
He got
missed
visa
Stockholm.
fucked for Stockholm, yeah, and he's probably the most likely to get visa fucked out of the whole tournament, I'd say, because like Turkey is like they have like the strictest process for Turkish citizens. Like he has to get approval to apply through like the invitation letter, and then he has to apply and get that approved.
It's like a really weak passport.
so he's got an extra step, basically.
Yeah. Like most people, they just apply for the visa, but he has to get approval to apply in the first place, which just adds like an extra fucking week or 2. Like I said, like it would take like 2 to 3 weeks to get the approval to apply approved. Like it's fucking AIDS for him.
That's dodgy.
So he's like
Yeah, the
unironically
timing is like-
probably the scariest to actually miss out. But I mean, so far they seem pretty confident. They're like, oh yeah, you know, he should get it around a week before the event starts. But I don't know. So,
It feels like the level of knowledge from like the player managers and the people like at EFG talking about it is like really low, to be honest. Like when you ask them about like what's going on with the visa and whether or not we're going to get assistance. Initially, I wrote in the channel saying like, hey, are we getting visa assistance? Because I was under the impression that we were going to get assistance with applying for our visas because we don't know what to do. And then they said, no, you're not. And I don't know why you thought you're getting visa assistance because you have to do it yourself. And then 3 days later, they said,
grow-up
we
situation.
are giving you visa assistance.
yeah, they have the same with us.
Yeah, hold tight because we are going to give you visa assistance. And then they posted some forms and we sent them off and we've just heard nothing back for like more than a week now. But like some of the stuff is just scuffed, you know, like they were late with the letters of invitation, you know, like they were super like strict about these deadlines like more than a month ago. Like if you had any chance of getting into this LAN, they were super strict about you submitting all of your information super early so that you could get your letters of invitation ASAP. And then we qualified and the letters of invitation were not ready. And then the letters of invitation had errors and needed to be reissued, you know? And then like they asked for information on these forms and it's just super unclear as to what certain stuff is, you know, like it's foreign. It's something where it's like you actually need someone, well, you know, you need an adult.
Who understands.
So unfortunately, my job to like help everyone do their forms because everyone filled out their forms wrong. Like every single player on my team filled out their forms wrong. Like it's complex. And like, I think for sure there's going to be delays, you know, there's going to be an error somewhere. Somewhere in the mix, there's going to be an error that's going to delay things by a week. And then someone's going to miss their visa. Like it's 100% because it's strict and it's a tight timeline.
And some of the stuff you like need to have before you can even do that form. Like we can't even fill out that form for half our players because we don't have flights locked in and like the
Yeah, you have to book the
some other
flights, and
stuff.
EFG
Yeah.
is like really slow with booking the
Before the
flights. Like
visa.
we had like alternative flights that they suggest, and we're like, yes, we'll do those. And then they're like, oh, actually, the cost of those flights changed. Are you willing to bear the cost of that additional change again? And it's like, yes. And then another day of waiting, and it's like, how many times are we going to shift the goalposts?
Yeah.
You know, wait, change, and it's like it just drags out, and you can't book anything until you have your flights and yada yada. Do you still not have your flights?
We don't have anything confirmed yet. Still,
Oh
like
my
we still
fucking
haven't.
God, no, you guys are missing, land. You guys are missing. We
Okay.
booked our flights more than a week ago now. You guys are done.
Half
Oh
our
my
team
God.
half our team doesn't need visas, to be fair, which will make the process like a lot easier. Like I don't need a visa.
Yeah, there's
Korea.
we got two
Americans
players and
need
we got two
visas?
players and a coach. Yeah, Americans need visas and Canadians.
Who doesn't need a visa for you then?
Ollie and I and the Korean. Oh, and GgulTaek.
Estonia
Why
gets
doesn't Ollie
in for
need
free.
one?
Yeah, it's like a lot of European countries.
Yeah, they did.
And,
They did after.
Is Estonia in the EU?
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
is.
think
Yeah,
so.
it's in the EU. Yeah, I mean they're all the same, like visa-wise now.
Australia is also like in that same it's like a new thing. Like they only made it like last
Yeah,
year.
they did.
2024 December
Oh,
or
okay.
something, right? Like,
Yeah.
They want more tourism.
It's
You're gonna love
so
the
chill.
You're gonna
So
love the
good.
country, guys. You're gonna love that country.
I heard it's like literally the best place to get married with the prop family in the entire world.
Honestly, it's just a utopia, mate. It's just utopia.
I've heard
So
that Hangzhou is like the food desert for like.
Yeah, I
good
heard. No,
food.
I was looking it up, and people
Everyone
joke
says
on how
Hangzhou.
bad the food is. Like, there's
Yeah.
no unique
Really?
food in Hangzhou. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had like a few Chinese friends from like previous tournaments like over the years message me after we won. He's like, "Oh, like good luck, but like the food's gonna be really shit." So like,
I don't think food shit is right. I think that's
Okay.
like a little bit of
Compared to
hyperbole.
Too far,
American
mate.
food?
That's too far.
compared to
just don't have,
American
like,
food,
a-
it's still gonna
They
be
just
good.
don't have a unique cuisine. Is the thing.
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah.
They're not like famous for their cuisine there compared to like going to Sichuan or something like that.
Yeah, it'll still
What
be
am I
fucking
famous
better food than American food.
I don't know.
We'll never know. Maybe we'll get a LAN there someday and we can find out.
It's like pepper and corn combo or something. Is my understanding. What else?
All right.
I guess we didn't really talk about the boot camps that much, right? Like, I think a lot of these teams that are boot camping in Korea are going to have like, I don't know if it's right to say they're going to have issues, but like, I'm really surprised to hear like the level of uncertainty from teams right up to now about all of this stuff. Because like, multiple orgs seem to like not have their flights booked yet. Like we had to book that shit. I only saw it from the
It's
space
really
station side.
expensive too, right?
And the
Like,
space station side was literally like right away. We asked them, "Hey, we want to do a boot camp in Korea. Can you pay for our flights to Korea, and then we'll pay for the other stuff?" And basically, what they did is they like set a nominal rate, which is the cost of a flight from your home country to China for the actual LAN. And then the difference between your flight to the bootcamp cost and that nominal cost is what you have to pay. So we booked them super fast because we don't want to pay too much, like we don't want to have expenses blow out. And you need these flights booked in order to apply for your visas. Like it's really, really important. And then you need to book all your bootcamp stuff. You need to have your scrims. You need to have your bootcamp facility sorted out. You need hotels, all this shit. And like, it's crazy to me to hear that like Nightmare still hasn't got it booked. I don't think Alcad has it booked yet because Alcad like trying to book scrims with them. There's again just like big question marks. I'm pretty sure VP is all sorted. I'm pretty sure like the Russian oligarchs just pulled up and just sorted that out straight away. But
thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Are you doing
where would we
Fear X,
be?
Max?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we're
is
also
so is
doing.
VP.
Actually, no, we're
Yeah.
not doing Fear anymore. We were gonna do Fear, but
You're not doing Fear X anymore?
no, we're
What?
doing like
Are you doing Gen G?
no, it's like DRX.
No
I think.
way. You guys are in the boonies. No. Okay.
What's wrong with DRX?
Is it in
It's just-
Busan? Or is it still in Seoul?
It's in Seoul, yeah. I don't know. Oh, maybe something's happened, but like there was just like delays in like getting the boot camp sorted for like reasons I probably can't talk about.
Yeah. I just think overall, like hearing all these delays from all of these different teams about organizing their boot camps makes me increasingly skeptical about whether or not people are going to get their visas, because I think like you're starting to cut it so fine with your travel to China that getting the visa while you're in Korea might be a challenge, but if you have to visit an embassy or something like that, there's just like complications that are starting to stack up more and more and more. And if people are late, all it takes is someone submitting one incorrect piece of information on their visa application, and then suddenly they have to apply again and they miss the LAN.
Yeah, I think it won't be like too much of an issue because like NetEase are like directly helping us with visa stuff now. So I feel like they have pretty high ties with like the Chinese
The big dogs?
government to get like these visas sorted pretty quickly. Like I think they would be stressing a lot more to us in messages to get this shit done if they weren't confident. I don't know.
I
Because like
think they don't
we've been
know.
waiting on them a lot. So
I think they don't know, to be honest. Like,
Are you
hopefully
guys
they don't.
like?
yeah.
Is it someone from NetEase who's helping you out? Like someone from China who's helping you out with this process?
It's
Or
just
is it all
a-
through?
It's just
Yeah,
a player manager that I've never
think-
seen before.
I think the player manager is Chinese. Like he like told us to like
Okay.
add him on WeChat and stuff, and like
Yeah, true. Actually.
I'm not getting the
That's a
vibe that he's
giveaway.
like some like EFG or like no,
Okay.
not on the
And-
Chinese side of things.
Oh shit.
Is everyone's boot camp essentially just the week before the LAN? Like that, whatever it is, it'll be like, but that week starting the 7th, 8th type thing around
Yeah.
there?
I think we're
This is like
flying on the 7th.
This is like 2 weeks from now to get everything locked in.
Yeah.
Give or take.
I think we should have like most of our stuff sorted by tonight or tomorrow. We just had like a few
It will be
delays and
fine.
stuff.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
It'll be fine. If not, the team are ready to
Right.
fill in at the drop of a hat if they need a team.
Oh, praying for that, mate. Imagine that. That would be the real slingshot.
Slingshot into the tournament uninvited.
Nightmare can't get their team over there, and then they just they give Chrissy the call. We need you to
But
get
the rules
China
are like
by
they're just
tomorrow.
forfeit if you don't have enough players.
You'll be in that Twisted Mind situation from last year where it'll be
Maybe
Big,
Alcad have the same
Flak-
problem. Kai
Flak will
makes
be
his
pulling up.
second game on LAN.
Maybe I'll finally get to pull out. I'll finally get to pull out a bit of the Doomfist. You know, like it's been a minute. A Kai played last time. Like I feel like I'm good for it.
You got that.
you play
Yeah.
against him.
Playing
Is
the
Saudi
entire-
Arabia tough to get a visa to China? What's their I don't know why I'm asking. No one's going to know, right? No one has Saudi players.
Are you looking at a room full of a perfect
Yeah, it was
a room
Ziad,
full of
mate.
experts here?
Yeah, I mean, the players are going, but I don't think he plays for your team.
No, Ziad from Alcad, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he plays for your team.
Oh, you're
So
talking
you
about
wouldn't-
my team, right? I
No,
thought you
I'm
were
just
talking
saying you won't
I
know
thought you
like
were-
their how easy it is for the visa.
Oh, right. Well,
So
it
it's a
sounds like they
question
have to
to
go.
the void.
I think they have to go consulate. Like there's no digital visa for them at least. And they definitely have to do something consular.
Yeah.
But they just wouldn't have picked the China land if it was impossible.
Yeah, because I remember at the
Yeah.
start people were like, "Oh, there's this huge break between regular season and the LAN." And it's like, yeah, but if there isn't, there's going to be
There's
no
no
LAN,
time.
or there'll be a LAN, but there's going to be no teams there for you to watch. So
Yeah.
just be the Koreans and the Chinese playing off against each other.
Yeah. I'm glad that the lands this year are like outside of America. I feel like I'm not American, but like the Dallas land, like I feel like if you're an American, you qualify that'll be like way less, like way more underwhelming than qualifying for like a land where you actually travel to like a different country and see shit.
No, Americans are like outrageously pathetic. I think they all feel that the Dallas land was their favorite of the year. Genuinely.
Really?
Like,
No way it
yes,
was better than
really.
Sweden for them.
That's no, really. They all like, oh, Dallas
such
was
an
the movie,
American
bro.
thing to
Like,
say. Holy
Yeah, but
fuck.
I
don't
would say
wanna-
Sweden was better for me as a European than America. So I like less travel time. That's what I've started to. Unless it's China or like Korea or somewhere like really interesting. I wish it was like a Newcastle land. That would be like the scenario, you know.
I mean, all the collegiate lands are like around here, so I'd just be going to the same places as I do for that. So it'd be boring. China would be cool though. Will be.
Actually, so jealous of everyone going to China for the LAN. I feel like it's actually going to be a really mega event. Like the first Overwatch event in there, they just got the game back. Well, not first
venue-
Overwatch event, but first Overwatch event in a very long time there.
The venue looks insane as well. Have you guys seen like photos of like what it looks like?
I've seen digital renders of it. I'm yet to believe that it actually exists.
No, there's like shit online.
Hater, just a hater. You'll see.
I am genuinely like so. I had searched for like 5 minutes to try and find a real picture of the place, and I just couldn't. Like,
Are you serious?
it's
You're fucking
just
useless.
nothing but digital renders. Like you probably fell for the digital renders.
No,
Like,
no,
you probably
no,
thought
no,
you were,
no.
You probably thought you were looking at a real place, but you were actually just looking at another artist's mock-up of the
No,
place.
bro. I
The
was
only,
looking at, like,
real,
shit-
the only real image that I saw of the place was on Google Maps, because you can see the dome from Google Maps. Or not Google Maps, but you know, whatever the
Yeah.
Baidu or something.
Take a brief break here where we do a GeoGuess a bit while everyone proves they've got a real picture of a place or a digital picture of a place.
I'm actually so hyped for the artist mock-up to show up here. Just like, wait a minute, that's not a real shadowed person walking in front of the building.
I don't know. If there's one thing Chris has taught me about China, is that they're good for it.
They're
They'll be
good.
good for it, mate. Don't worry about that.
And the dead giveaway that they were artist mock-ups is that there was like a clear blue sky in all of the pictures that I was seeing, and it's like that's just
No, I've
I'll
seen
stick
like
to your
photos
bottom
of
right as well.
the inside.
the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can't
No.
draw inside.
No, the interior is actually like completely
It's-
impossible to render, is my understanding. There's just no technology for that yet.
It hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, that's real.
Here we go.
That's a real picture, bro.
That is not real.
I need no further evidence.
Yeah,
Looks good to me.
place looks insane.
All right. I think we've covered all the Overwatch action. Then, unless you got more, mate, and we've got any big topics we missed, then I think we'll start with draft of the week here. And where better to start, I think, than a sort of two-parter start, I think. So this is ZETA versus Crazy Raccoon. We touched on this already. ZETA versus Crazy Raccoon. This is from the Asia playoffs, so an important game. And the big one has to be a little bit of a map draft, mainly this Diva Brig situation. But I don't think this is the most egregious one, because if we look at the next nomination, which is ZETA versus Falcons, you're going to see a few similarities here, where they fell into the exact same trap twice. And this one has the additional egregious example where they went to Esperanza to force a Zarya mirror versus Hanbin that less than a week ago, they got absolutely smashed on. And then they do this and they get absolutely smashed again. So the second half of their most important game of the year so far, horrendous draft and really cost them any opportunity. Like, it was going to be tough anyway, of course, but yeah.
They lose in under 4 minutes on that Esper. Like, actually just complete domination, like no hope.
Yeah, it wasn't even, like, it felt closer the week before. And to be fair, you can make the argument that you probably expect you're going to have to play Falcons for it. You're probably going to get taken to Zarya at some point, right? Because Falcons will want to do it, get Hanbin in that mirror, had a successful week before. So I understand, like, preparing for it, but same with the Gibraltar, right? Like, you expect to get taken to Gibraltar by some teams, like Crazy Raccoon, if you're ZETA Division. But I just don't understand why they're the ones doing it for the other team. Why are they volunteering themselves for their toughest maps and toughest matchups?
They had really good scrim results on it.
Well,
I almost feel like the Crazy Raccoon's Gibraltar is more egregious, because I guess that you can maybe cope your way out that, like, oh, why would a ban win against Hanbin, you know? Like, maybe it's like, but this one, like, it was like the most obvious counter ban in human history. Did they think that they'd used their Diva ban already or something, maybe? But I don't know, I feel like you should.
They did it twice. They did it twice.
Yeah,
but my point is, like, the second one, maybe they did it because, like, it was intentional in the second one. Like, they were like, oh, they can ban
Falcons one, you mean? Yeah.
But even then, like, Hanbin surely has such a big edge. It actually does have a Winston gap over Bernard, presumably. So
I think it still
it's
even
both
all comes down to
cooked.
Why. I still can't understand why we're on Gibraltar twice.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Especially because the first time you take the Winston mirror and it goes horrendously. So then what do you think? The next day, for all the marbles, you have to win the map to stay in the series? Double down on it again? It just feels like there's huge missed opportunities. And I think whenever we do the draft of the week, we always talk about the stakes of the game being super important in terms of how egregious the errors are. So I think a very strong entry from ZETA Division, who have, I think, made a few this year already. Just one more coach and they'll be able to figure it out.
Just need the four-headed dragon, you know? Freeze them
Then next one is going to be our very own SSG versus Nightmare here from the grand final. This one I think loses a little bit of steam because the grand final was, didn't have the same edge, I think, as that ZETA Falcons series especially. But I feel like this one also felt a little bit like missed opportunities here, and there was like never a Genji ban or something to force for Tracer. You sort of, I guess, explained some of it already, right, Max, in terms of just hard protecting Viana to keep the Winston.
Yeah,
but this one felt like missed opportunities. So
like map 5 was like really bad, I think, just because like we did like another protect ban on Weaver, but on that map, like, we could have banned Juno and made it like more awkward for them to play their Ram comp. The problem was that initially we were going to play the Malga comp again, and if we're going to play the Malga comp, we really want to play Juno. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to touch Juno because we're going to play Malga. But then, like, as soon as we loaded in, Kellen's like, I don't want to play Malga. Can we play Orisa? And it's like, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. Like, that's okay. But like, if we pivot in the spawn room like that and wind up on some like fucking Mickey Mouse comp, it's like it becomes a little bit more difficult to like have the plan there. We just didn't like the theory, we just didn't like playing Malga into Ram at all. It didn't work on route, and decided, let's not try it again. Let's try something different. I think Orisa was, to be honest, a good shout. Like, I felt more winnable.
You guys nearly won that sub map.
Yeah, I think if I had banned Juno when we played the Orisa, we probably would have won that map.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we played Juno with Dirissa too, so maybe that's not entirely true, but like, I don't know, it was really close.
I think our Surge Ban was really good that map as well.
100%, yeah.
And then final entry, maybe no surprises with this one. Team Liquid versus Nightmare. We don't have a good graphic live, but we'll fix it in post type thing. But this one probably also falls into the category of really important series, go to China, qualify for the LAN type match, and just, I don't know. It feels like we spun for that. We did some spinning, and it feels like we sent Danny to the moon in terms of the draft god. But it feels like the draft hasn't delivered in any of these big moments.
There was a lot of talk about the draft documents. You should include an honorable mention for his draft versus us as well, because he threw the draft versus us the day before or the week before. It was the day before, right?
Day before, yeah.
Like he tossed like back-to-back drafts, like not only the Nightmare draft but also the draft versus us, where they just had like a really bad read on what we were going to do and just banned out heroes that we weren't going to play anyway. Just like didn't really matter, didn't really impact our plan whatsoever. But yeah, I think that like the draft docs got gassed up super heavily, and it seemed like early on that, you know, he was zugging on our Zwang, you know, like he was making it really difficult. But, you know, when it all came down to it, like the two most important matches, and they shit the bed on both drafts, like just didn't have a very good plan.
Yeah.
I feel we have to give it to ZETA though. I think there's
Yeah,
no way
I
ZETA isn't
agree,
winning
I
this award.
agree.
Like, I think I don't. Hard to choose between the games. Maybe the Falcons one seems fine to me, but I don't. It's hard to see a world in which ZETA aren't winning this award this week.
Yeah, I can see the one against Falcons being like a little bit more reasonable, with like the Winston matchup is like maybe not as disadvantaged, even if you get banned off D.Va. Like you can maybe beat Houndbin on the Winston, but it's just so egregious not banning Winston against CR.
Yeah.
Like CR, because they had the pick roster first, right? Like so, like they know Jumpin's in.
Yeah.
If they force like a D.Va mirror, it's like probably really favorable.
It's like a cumulative
Even if it's like Anna,
well,
Brig, even if Brig is in, even if they ban, like I don't know what the great counter ban would be in that situation if you ban Winston. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
Because they're not going to ban Anna anyway, right? Because they're just going to play Anna, so you can really gamble that they're not actually going to ban anything that you want to play, really.
Yeah, that ban probably wouldn't be that beneficial. You just get the Winston ban out of the way straight away.
Yeah, I think whichever way you stack it up, ZETA seem on the wrong end of this, because it was just two egregious days on their most important weekend of the year so far. It's all right.
Yeah, map 5 as well. Like,
yeah, it's just it also seems to get worse throughout the series. Like earlier in the year, it felt like sometimes ZETA would just choke a little bit on like the match point map, you know, and just ban something irrelevant or ban something really low value. But it seems to have gotten worse.
At least Rush, and his lack of the nitty gritty. He's never making these mistakes, you know, because he's just he's already banned Baptiste in this moment, you know. He's chilling, you know. He never like cucks himself. He just keeps the nitty gritty for someone else and just sees what happens.
I actually completely get where Rush is coming from here. Like
banning Mercy,
the Rush of North America. Like it's so good.
Don't need any nitty and gritty, you know.
I'm actually so uninterested in the nit and the grit. Like let's cheers.
There's just no grit.
Yeah, I mean, unlike you, of course. Just heart of gold, grit.
Right in the heart and all this.
Passion just
Russian
bursting at the
maps, you know, they're
seams.
just chilling.
I just can't wait to chop it up with Rush. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to T1's offices to find him.
All right. All in on ZETA then. Not a lot of disagreement. And then, on to Clients of the Week. So, I can kick us off if you want. There's been, I feel like we talked about it a little bit before, but it's always good for it, and it sort of reared its head again afterwards. We go to there was a thread on Reddit, obviously normally a good source for opinions and insight and, you know, good takes. So this was pretty quickly, I think, after the Asia playoffs LAN, where I believe it was Spider Panther decided to say, are we going to have another Mauga meta for LAN? Immediate complaint about Mauga. Initially, I don't even buy into all this Mauga is boring complaint, you know? Like, I think actually half the time, other versions of a Brawl comp actually play a lot slower. Stomp is fun. All this unwatchability stuff is absolute horsecock, you know? They say, it's a 10-old fight. How can I see what's happening? It's like, oh yeah, but when we're playing Nanoblade versus Nanoblade, 2 primals, 2 rallies go off on like Gibraltar. You've taken all of that in, right? 60% of it's happening off screen, 80% off screen, but you've taken it all in, so that's fine, you know? Like, of course it's hard to watch, lots of stuff's happening, but it's not unique to Mauga, so all of that, grow up. But I think what's actually happened with all the Mauga haters is they have revealed themselves. They've exposed a flaw in their logic with their complaints this time. Because
they don't watch the games?
They don't watch the games. Where was the bloody Mauga? I'll give you, you know, EMEA, there was plenty of Mauga, right? Plenty of Mauga, I'll give you that. But if I take a look at the comps in Korea, there was a couple of Mauga maps, but there was Winston, there was Diva, there was Zarya, there was Ball, all these other things. I look in North America, there's not all that much Mauga at all. Barely a Mauga in sight. And yet somehow they see Mauga once in a crowd of other heroes, and it's a huge problem. It's unplayable. It's just ruining it. They need to do it. Blizzard needs to tank this hero. Blizzard needs to take it out of the game. Blah, blah, blah. It's ruining this. We've had it for all the lands. Blah, 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 blah. And even with that argument, we've seen it in multiple lands. Stockholm, I'll give you, right? It was just NRG who were brave enough to, you know, do their own thing. But when we did it in Dallas, the only teams playing for Amalgam were the 2 Korean teams. Admittedly, they won. But you go back and you look at the comps from Dallas, there was loads of... Everyone was playing Sigma into it. This Malga, people just lying now. And I think because of this, people have exposed themselves, that they're actually just... They just have an idea that sits in their head, and then anytime they get a chance where they had an opinion once 8 months ago, they're just going to repeat it. They don't watch the games. If you don't like watching Malga, you might just not like Overwatch, which is fine. Piss off then, though. It's fine. Just don't waste my time reading these complaints about fucking Malga. And that was actually like the lighter of... Oh, go on.
There must be like a phrase, you know, for like people who go on like Reddit or Twitter and tweet something that they is like they just know is what everybody's like the fucking like the safest and the most guaranteed of votes possible, you know. It's like I see it all the fucking time on Twitter. It's so like
easy dopamine.
I love Dive, guys. Do you love Dive?
I have a nomination for Client of the Week, actually. Like, we can talk more about Malga meta miners. Do you have more examples?
Well, I've got another one. If you go to the next one, this is also about LAN meta rumors. So we got a bit of an inside track here from one of our good source, pretty reliable sources. So LAN meta rumors, Malga lol, from Black Draken 30. He says, been hearing it from a number of people I know in the upper level scrim scene. So probably gentlemen like yourselves, probably talking to Drakon here.
That's me.
I've been DMing all last week. I can't lie.
Black Dragon 30.
He just messages me when I get on. It's like, hey, what are you scrimming today? I'm like, oh, you know, a bit of Morgan, a bit of Weaver.
Like,
and he's like, oh, fuck, how cringe is that?
I love Dive.
It's like, hey, man, can you play some Winston for the next LAN, please? It's like, yeah, man.
Anything for our number one on the street reporter. So yeah, they said that teams are running Malga, Juno, Brig, but sometimes swapping out the Brig for Lifeweaver may in fact just be the rumour mill, but the pro scene has been known for hitting up the Malga comps pretty regularly, and I wouldn't be surprised if teams are trying out Lifeweaver, considering all the buffs he's getting recently. Pretty interesting, he writes at the end of his own post. So, a few things. Who's bloody scrimming right now? Everyone's on break. So I don't know how upper we're getting into the upper level scrim scene, but I don't think this one goes all the way to the top. If I'm being honest with you, I think upper level might be just his friend who's a higher rank than him. Honestly, Lifeweaver, don't know where he's got it from, and it just feels like such a shoehorned way to complain about Malga, and it's just nonsense. To be fair, a lot of people in the thread also smelt the bullshit surrounding Drakon and didn't buy into it. But I just feel like there's so many people just so willing to cash in on the Malga hate just to get that, like, oh yeah, everyone agrees with me. It's like, yeah, you've successfully shouted into an echo chamber and now you feel good about yourself. Great. Good job.
Parasocial Overwatch fans.
I think there's one more Malga meta complainer that needs to be discussed a little bit. If you're good for the intro on it, Xavier, I need to see the screenshot. Maybe
it's in the
Alpha's got it ready
it's the OBS Sojourn one, right? Yeah,
This,
it's like
this is genuinely the most outrageous of the lot. I'm going to be honest, because how the fuck is OBS Sojin complaining about Malga? OBS Sojin watches all of these games and talks about all of these games. It's like there was next to zero Malga in North America. There was next to zero Malga in Korea. There was a mixture of like Malga Diva in Europe. How on earth can you be complaining about Malga being so overwhelming? Like, so we don't have to see him for the Champions Clash. Is it unacceptable that you have a couple of maps in a series between multiple teams where a hero gets played
across the world?
And then this follow-up comment too, where look, like apparently the only metas that we get to have are just Winston and ball dive.
Yeah,
just high skill expression.
Can someone explain to me how Ball Sombra is easy and fun to watch? Like, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
Was like Ball Sombra Tracer, wow, it was so fun. Like, it's pandering. That's the word I'm looking for, right? Like, it's like pandering to the masses. Like, when OBS Sojin tweets this, it's not about what actually she thinks. It's guaranteed likes. It's just fucking printing the money machine, you know? And it's just, I get so bored of it, you know? Just like, take a risk, say something that you actually think. Don't just tweet, anyone else impressed with Wei? Ooh, anyone else think Proud is really good at Overwatch? Anyone else fucking think Malga is really boring?
Top of Combo W right now. Top of Combo W right now. Anyone else miss Overwatch World Cup? That's actually the top thread right now.
Oh yeah, just
anyone else miss molten hot take? Anyone else miss incredibly popular thing? Like, come on! These people aren't real. And then top comment is unknown QTY, who's like a full-time Redditor, you know, like someone that's always all of these threads. Like, it's unbelievable. Everyone has the most lukewarm takes. Everyone agrees. Like, you just want a little bit of validation.
Just a few votes, a few likes. It's always disguised.
Anyone
like
else?
A take, isn't it? Like, anyone else? Like, oh, fuck off.
Anyone like fun?
Everyone else.
Anyone into funness?
We just need to create like a new propaganda against like all these current propaganda, like Morga hate. We're gonna like turn the tides. We're gonna create like some narrative.
We've been doing it for ages on this podcast because it's the same
unbelievable, right? Because people were always like, "Oh, a dive's so fun," and people were saying this on my fucking stream this morning, and we were just going into a Dorado, right? And it was a Winston mirror. I was like, "Oh, it's so fucking fun, is it? Oh, this is going to be exhilarating. Look, the Winston is staging top right. The other Winston is staging underneath. Both are going to go for a soft bubble. A little bit scared not to get slept. Now both teams are going to wait for their bubble again. We're going to go again." I was like, this is way slower. We're going to spend like a minute before like anything really happens. The Malgas are actually probably one of the fastest brawl comps. So even your boring argument, which is fundamentally fucking shit to begin with, doesn't even work if you actually watch the game. And I'm convinced so many of these people just don't watch the fucking game. They're just compelled to spurt their fucking bullshit opinion out into the world so they can get some likes from Reddit and fucking Twitter and just...
How many times in fucking dive meta is like, you're just like, you're watching the Winston and then you see the kill feed and their backline's dead.
Someone else died.
Any of it. Like, it's just fucking done.
That's
it's like,
better.
Oh, so good. I fucking love that. There was so much skill in dive.
No, the skill expression was insane there. Like when backline number 1 died to dive number 2, no way. I didn't even see it. We were on a Winston's POV and he was bubbling and zapping and a brig was hitting him in the face, but his backline's traded and you don't see it. Like,
I think
dive
is like
all you have to do is look in the top right and you're like, oh, big nade. But you never catch the fucking nade because how the observers can catch the fucking nade? You just see, big nade in the backline. You don't even know why the backline dies because you just never fucking see it. But we just fucking wank ourselves up about how good we are. We're so sophisticated because we love dive, you know? Dive.
Fine wine.
Swirl a glass of wine.
I love dive.
When you're casting dive, how much are you just looking at the backline's HP, waiting to see what goes fucking purple?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily what I'm doing. To be honest, but you know, like
he's not watching it.
Yeah,
he's just got his fucking hand in his meat.
I think it's a bit of a stretch to suggest that I'm paying attention to the backline's HP. But I mean, to be honest, it's just all Overwatch is hard to spectate for different reasons, you know?
Yeah.
And no matter what comp is being played, you're going to miss stuff and you're going to see stuff. And people can be like, oh, Maga's so boring. And I think the thing where the case is like really true is that like big ult trades in Maga comp can be quite difficult to watch. But
Like
even
7
that,
beams,
if you
2
understand,
cages.
yeah, exactly. Like a bunch of beams and 2 cages, and that's really hard to watch, you know, compared to the Primal or the Nano Blade, where of course the observer can go to one person's POV. And you can see the carry happen in real time, right? You see a Primal get pulled and you go to a Winston's POV and you get a highlight reel moment that is fun to watch. You go to the Genji's POV and you get the highlight reel moment. I think it's true that in Malga comp, you don't get that because instead you get this massive ult clash and something needs to be explained to the viewer after the fact, you know? You actually need someone that's watching the game to give a good explanation as to why a team won or lost because it's actually more difficult to see, right? Instead of the observer just banging on a POV, it needs to be explained from a macro standpoint why the team won and why the other team lost, because it's actually hard and complex to see. That being said, this is such a small minority of the situation. And here, Malga's not dominant. Malga's not on every map.
They've given the game away.
I think
They've
all
given the
dive
game
tanks,
away.
yeah, it's over. The people that comment on Reddit don't watch the things that they're talking about. It's the same as when you open a TikTok and someone is commenting and that you can see that the commenter hasn't watched the video. You open a Reddit thread about a news article and you can see the commenters haven't watched the video. Reddit, Compo W, it's all the same. It's just a bunch of people chasing a dopamine hit by trying to get a bunch of upvotes, so they just regurgitate a popular, easily agreed upon opinion to try and get their likes on Twitter or on Reddit and get their little fix of dopamine for the day because they're so desperate for validation. That's all it is.
Is your life not based around a few fucking likes? Do you not
No,
feel
genuinely,
like a bit
all I
better
need
when
is
you
a
get
few
a
fucking
more
likes to get through the day.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I'm going to tweet after this and see if I can just get 40 to 50 likes before I start my private coaching to get me through the rest of the day. That's all I need.
Sometimes you see that little boost.
What was the unknown QTY or whatever? Like, how else does it get through the day if there isn't a few upvotes? You know, like
yeah. On this
go
topic,
on?
I can segue to my nomination for
Let's go. Get it
this
segued.
is Client of the Week. It's the name of the segment, right? Like there was this thread onto/Finn because I remember I was quite thoroughly enjoying the hate watch component of watching ZETA games recently because I've got some personal beef with people on ZETA and I really want ZETA to lose. I love rooting against ZETA. I have genuine beef with ZETA Division, but because I don't explicitly explain why, someone made a thread on it on Reddit asking what's this guy's deal about onto/Finn, and the comments are so fucking funny. Skip the first two. Let me go to the screen share, see where we're at. Skip exaggerates and hates everyone, and then it's these ones that are down the bottom. They were at the top for the longest time until we started.
Oh my god!
On stream. But it's the ones about ult usage and Finn's play and how I think that Finn is the person holding the team back. Scroll up a little. Let's see if it's. I think he feels Finn is the weak link on what could otherwise be a potential top contention team. And Finn does have some questionable ults and decision making sometimes. This is the one that really gets me. This Bryce is real one where they are saying something that they think and ascribing it to me. They think that Finn is the weak link and that and then they back it up with and Finn does have some real questionable ults. That was your opinion. You don't need to present it that way and then pretend that it's me saying this. At no point have I been God, Finn's ult usage is just not up to scratch, I'm never critical of Finn's ult usage specifically, but this viewer thinks Finn's ults are bad, translates that to my view, and then justifies it again by supporting their own. It's just such insanity.
There's this phenomenon. If you go into any of any tweet, any Reddit thread or something, you look at somebody, they start a discussion on a topic, right? And they're talking about something. Look at the comments and see how long it takes for people to just basically disregard what the comment's about and find an excuse to talk about themselves or talk about something they think and not actually address any of the points of a topic just to make it about themselves. And I feel like this is exactly what happened. Multiple people were just so keen and also convinced that the beef all stems from, remember when he did that early Ray on Saravasa? I'm fucking disgusted. I can't abide this person anymore after seeing that Ray. When cuFFa died first on Nepal, can't stand the guy anymore. It's over. It's over. A mistake
we need to bench that guy.
in Overwatch.
Bro, that was another thing. I'm fighting the bench allegations the entire season.
I mean, clear?
Nobody was happy with me playing, that's for sure. Until we won, nobody was happy.
Yeah, we need to get clear in. We really need to sub in clear. He won contenders last stage with Nightmare. Like, why is he not playing now?
Fucked up.
Any other clients for the week?
Fuck, some fucking Reddit dog. That's just typed up something on Reddit.
Yeah, no, it's always just some fucking Reddit dog, bro. Like,
some fucking parasocial Twitter geek just fucking tweeting some shit about Overwatch CS.
Oh wait! Oh fuck! I can't remember the tweet. Oh fuck! There was a tweet I saw, and it was basically someone complaining that Crazy Raccoon and Falcons have qualified again. These guys always qualify.
Boring
and
is
again, that was the word. They used the word boring.
I think I saw that as well.
Boring. Yeah, I can't remember who it was or whatever. It's just a random Twitter account. Thanks algorithm for sending me this shit. I mean, I guess it worked because now I'm pissed off and now I'm engaging with it. So I guess you win this one, Musk. But it was just like, it's so fucking boring. Just the same two teams. I was like, it's boring because what? The two best teams in the world keep getting to go to high stakes matches, major events, and have a high stakes grand final where we get to see great Overwatch. That's boring. You feel like there's some kind of inherent problem with the esport that the best teams get to go to the finals. You don't like meritocracy. You just like variety. You just like to see new names and new players in these places. You don't want it to be some kind of reward for progress or performance. You don't want it to be performance-based. You just want different teams. Okay, every LAN this year, we're just going to send different teams every time. Actually, so you can't, if you qualify for the first one, you can't qualify for any more. Obviously, yeah, this works very much in Chrissy's favour.
That's a good idea. Good shout. Communism or something.
I just these people where they're like, oh, it's so boring seeing Falcons and Raccoon in the finals again. It's so boring watching Malga. It's like, I actually think you might just like Overwatch. Like, if you want a piece of advice, don't watch Overwatch. If something is so boring to you and upsetting to you, it's your life. Go do something else. It's your life. It's your day. Make something of it.
But I'm going to jump to the defense of the guy that's talking shit about Crazy Raccoons and Falcons. Not because what they said was smart, but at least it's a fucking bold opinion, you know? At least he's going against the grain. And
does anyone else?
Yeah, I got no problem. If you've got a fucking dog shit take which is unpopular, you send that shit on Twitter. I got respect for you, you know, because you're not doing it for the likes. You're putting yourself out there. But if you tweet something that you know everybody agrees with, just like, then fuck off, you're boring, you know? So, yeah, maybe it's a fucking retarded thing to say that Crazy Raccoon and Falcons is boring, but at least no one said it before, you know? At least he's going somewhere no man has gone before. And for me, I tip my hat to that at the very least, you know?
All
right.
A real moon landing of a take, that one, of course, yeah.
Let's move on to the moon landing section of the week.
And for client of the week, anyone who believes the moon landing was real.
You fucking sheep.
That's going to be my tweet. Anyone else starting to buy into this moon landing stuff?
I'm not gonna get fucking political. 2.5 hours in this podcast.
Let's not get political, all right? Save it for the Q&A, buddy. Like,
I think it's the opposite. At this point, nobody's only the true fans are watching at this point. So now there's no rules anymore.
Don't make me leave.
You'll leave. If I say what I'm about to say, you'll leave.
You've been going on this tirade about how people are giving boring takes. Drop a fucking hot take then.
No, I just
political.
What is it?
I'm not.
You just said other people.
Thank you for watching episode cuFFa of Uncoachable. It has been an absolute pleasure. Subscribe to us on Patreon. Maybe buy some Face It thing that we're being sponsored for. See you in the next episode.
He's gone.
We always forget at time of recording because all of our brains are one big collective colander, but we couldn't miss giving a special thank you to Red Eyes for being an extremely uncoachable supporter on our Patreon, helping us keep making the podcast, helping us keep living this life of making Overwatch content. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Red Eyes.